Yeah.
Technically, you can curse.
Technically, you can curse.
We
But
can-
if it's going on,
You can do pretty much.
curse.
You can pretty much do whatever you want on the podcast.
But if it's on KDV, I was
No.
gonna put it on the KDVS site.
Oh,
because that's
okay.
easier.
We're not doing that.
Oh gosh.
No, we're just gonna put it on my
This is-
SoundCloud.
I don't know. I mean, we're taking this is in the basement with Sean and Heckler. This ain't Sean and Greg's shitty podcast. This is SoundCloud territory. This is not Greg Wong territory.
I just have to beep it out. All right, ready?
I just thought that had to be said, Greg. And we're ready. We're
ready.
We're recording.
All right.
Hey YouTube, we love you.
All right.
Hey,
Welcome
what's going on, guys?
Welcome into Studio A. This is your
my
podcast
God.
technically.
Yeah.
In the
Oh,
basement
wow.
with Sean the Heckler, but
It
I am
is.
I feel like we have to say it one more time. This is in the basement with Sean and the Heckler. We're
It's not-
joined by Greg Wong, our
It's
esteemed
not
colleague.
Monday, but you know
No.
what? It's awesome because
when the
it's
sports
once a week.
director's here, I take the reins.
We
right, guys?
Hey,
we
you
didn't
were
give
here-
him the reins.
You were
So
here,
you guys
were
are my
here for our very
subordinates.
first ever show.
Yes, he was.
And now you're here for the first ever, Major League preview, also on the
Anyway,
show.
as DK said, the reason I'm here today is because I'm a huge baseball fan.
As you can
My
tell by
favorite
his
sport.
attire,
Huge baseball.
DK and I, huge baseball fans. DK, get in here. Huge baseball fans, and then somehow a huge baseball fan. I'm not seeing it.
Don't need to tag team.
I'm not
it's
seeing
cool.
it.
It's cool. we also have a YouTube channel we could post this on.
Right.
Yes.
So, anyways, before I was berated by my subordinates,
Man.
we are going to do a mega, ultra, whatever you want to call it, baseball preview today.
Yes.
Sean, you're a Yankee fan. DK, you're a Dodger fan.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Giants fan, this is the only day I haven't worn a Giants shirt this week. So.
Yes. And this is a
Today we're doing
Teixeira
the-
shirt. I should just show everyone.
All right, Shara.
Teixeira.
This is just Los Angeles.
Sean,
I'm
how
just
did-
representing the team.
How did Shara do last year?
He was injured, right?
Yeah, he played, I think, 15 games. Not special. We'll get into Yankees. We'll get into Yankees.
Anyways, I just wanted you to admit that.
And
And how much did he pay last year?
All right, so we're doing the American League West first, I
American
believe.
League West
Right.
first.
I think that's what we're
All
going.
right, so what we're going to do, we're going to preview each division. Everybody's going to pick how they're going to finish. As you can see, they did a lot of research for this. I did some research. too.
Prepared,
Yeah.
unprepared.
Anyways, gosh, wow.
Oh man.
We are going to preview.
This is pretty much for the course for our
Uh-huh.
show here.
Um,
A lot of laughing.
And thanks everybody for. You guys video this podcast too?
Oh, yeah.
This is
We
incredible.
do when I had a phone.
Yes.
Right.
And when the phone is charged.
Rest
And
in-
when there's no phone calls.
no phone calls, no texts.
We've been through the gauntlet, Greg.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Oh god.
DK's phone.
Yep.
Somewhere in the Silver Legacy parking lot. I'm pretty sure.
I love how you know where it is.
Somewhere in the Silver Legacy parking lot.
Well, because
That's probably the most innocent thing left over
Here
in
it
the
is,
Silver Legacy
'cause-
parking
'cause when I
lot.
went to go with Lost Mode, right?
Yeah.
Freaking the Find My iPhone app. The last beep it was near
Listen,
the-
there have been some crazy nights in
was
Silver
near the
Legacy
Reno-
that I've been to.
Was
So.
near a Reno casino where I was.
Biggest little city on earth.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we're gonna go through all the divisions, pick the game, the order of finish.
Yep.
Obviously, then we're gonna go to our World Series picks,
Mm-hmm.
and then MVP and Cy Young picks, and
Manager.
then Manager of the Year as
Manager
well.
of the Year.
Rookie of the year is kind of tough to
Rookie-
do.
yeah.
It's
I
tough
mean,
to call like
If
who's
you
going to get
guys
called up.
know some rookies that you think can make impacts, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll throw them.
My
out there.
brain, all I can think about is that guy Abreu from the White Sox.
Jose
Right.
Abreu,
That's
yeah.
not- It's not really fair because that's all I know.
Money Hero Tanaka is going to be a rookie.
That's true.
We'll,
Okay, anyway,
we'll throw
anyway,
some stuff
anyway.
out. It'll
So we're
be
starting with the AL West. Right?
AL West. AL
Alrighty,
West.
so let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
Hey, I was gonna say you are technically the guest, so I feel like you should go first.
Alrighty.
The guest taking the reins.
Fantastic.
Always unfun when that happens.
I'll fire you.
He will too.
Let's start in the AL West, guys. What do you say?
All right,
Hey, we'll see.
you
All
go.
right, so the American League West. By the way, we're taping this on a Thursday. Season started on a Monday,
Mhm.
but if anybody, or technically it started 2 weeks
Technically,
ago.
it started in
But if
Australia.
anybody-
Technically 2-0 over
If
here.
anybody here changed their picks based on what they saw in the first three
No,
days,
I
of
did
the-
not.
It helped. It helped.
Sure.
Seeing what some of the lineups
No,
look
maybe,
like.
but you
No,
I
shouldn't.
didn't
Nobody
change
should
it.
change
When
their
it came to
picks.
the AL West, it doesn't help at all what it looks like right now compared to what I think it's going to look at the end.
All right, so AL West, it's one of the best divisions in baseball, in my opinion. There are four.
Very underrated.
To
It's
me,
very
there are
underrated.
4 teams that have a chance at winning the division, and I'm going to include the Mariners in there. Even though they're probably the 4th best team in the division, I think they have a chance to win the division. So I'll give you my thoughts first. I'll let you guys jump in here. I have the A's winning the division.
Right.
I think the 4 teams I'm referring to, obviously the A's, Rangers, Angels, and Astros. It's a joke. Laugh, guys.
Yes.
And the Mariners. Astros are
Full of Rookie of the Year candidates.
Wow.
but anyways, I like the Oakland Athletics. Both seasons, they've won it 2 consecutive years, and really both seasons, they're unexpected. Nobody thought they were going to win it last year. Everybody was picking the Rangers and the Angels, and the same for the year before that. But the A's are on top again, and I'm not going to be fooled this year. I'm picking the A's to win the division. And again, I do think it's going to be a 4-team race, but I think that Texas has some pretty gaping holes right now, and the Angels. I actually think the Angels have a good chance at finishing second in the division, and the Mariners. I think, really, I mean, you can say this for any team, but if everything goes right, they're going to have a good year. Mariners, like I said, if everything goes right, I think they could have a chance at having a very good year. But I think the A's are the most solid team. They're the safest pick for me. I love what they do with platoons. They really take out the most out of every single player they get. They just take out as much value as they can out of every single player they got. Even though Jared Parker's out for the year, I still think they have so much depth in their starting pitching. I think they're going to win it again.
No, I agree. I mean, Sonny Gray needs to have a good year, but
Right. Sean, you can.
Rochambeau.
Nah, you go second.
Oh,
Okay.
That's fine. I like going last anyway.
I thought maybe we could get a little Rochambeau for the
We'll do that next division.
next division. Okay.
We'll do it next division.
All right.
Greg goes first all the time.
So,
guest.
So AL West. I agree with Greg. I think the A's do win the division. I think they get about 90, 95 wins at the end of the year. I think Anaheim. I guess they're not Anaheim anymore. They're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah. So
technically they are, I guess. To me, they'll always be the California Angels. But anyway, that's just how it is.
God, you're old.
I know. Gosh, I am old.
I don't even remember the California Angels. Oh man. DK just dated himself right there.
Oh, the big A.
So DK, how was it living
my
through
God.
World War II?
Oh man, you know what? It was painful.
What was Yogi Berra like in person?
The meat rations and everything. Anyway, sorry. I think the Angels get second
Meat
place in the
rations.
division, and then Texas falls to third. Because I agree with Greg. As much improved as they are on offense through free agency, I think they didn't really improve their pitching at all. So they do have a couple holes in their starting rotation and in the back end. So I think it comes down to that. They finished third. Seattle, I know they started off 2-0 so far this year, but I think everything kind of comes back to form for Seattle. Because, I mean, Seattle, the big question is they have a whole bunch of people that they're relying on that really they haven't ever been relied on as a sole guy in their career. I know Cano's a big name, and he's good offensively, and he's a beast at second base, but he's never had to carry a team by himself. I mean, he's on the Yankees, and I mean, even if he carried the Yankees through stretches of the season, he wasn't looked upon as the guy to just shoulder the load all the way and just, lead the team. You had Jeter on there, you have CC Sabathia on there, you had Posada, not Posada, sorry, Pettit on there.
Posada.
And, you had other leaders and, expectations. So he knew his role. It was to be the number 3 hitter, second baseman, RBI guy. It wasn't really to be, the face of the franchise. So you don't know how it's going to happen. But I think in the end, I mean, Houston's going to be last. I feel like they're a couple years away. But the most important person for me in the West is going to be Corey Hart of the Mariners. If Corey Hart and Justin Smoke is another guy. If those two guys can protect Robinson Cano, then the Mariners might prove us all wrong. But as it stands right now, they haven't really proven that they can be that guy.
I think that.
So
I don't know if I'm as concerned about you about Cano being able to carry the load, because I think he can, even though I think his numbers might take a dip because he's going into a big ballpark in Safeco. But I think DK touched on it. There are a lot of just question mark hitters on Seattle's team that could go either way.
Yeah.
A lot of prospects that have failed. Justin Smoke had a really good second half of last season, but overall he's been a failed prospect. Dustin Ackley was a number 3 pick in the draft a few years ago, and he hasn't panned out very well. Kyle Seager's a very underrated player. He's actually a good third baseman.
The Dodgers have his brother in the minor
Right.
system, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Logan Morrison's another guy that a young guy that really hasn't panned out as well. He's had a few good years. And another guy, Corey Hart, another question mark. He was injured most of last year. He's had some good seasons.
You don't know what to expect from him.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
are you
Mike
gonna get the
Zunino's
280?
another big prospect that just couldn't hit to save his life last season. up and down the lineup. That's why I said there's a lot of range of possibilities where this lineup could go, and probably likely is that they won't be able to hit very much because all these players have not proven they can be consistently good hitters. And then when you look at their starting rotation, Hisashi Iwakuma and Felix Hernandez are as good as it gets, but Iwakuma's hurt right now, and they have a bunch of young pitchers that haven't proven themselves at the big league level. Yeah. So if those pitchers can come through and if those hitters can come through, I think they can make a run at the division, but there's just too many question marks for me to risk saying they're going to be finished in a playoff spot this year.
They need to have that magical season.
Right. Sean?
I think the Mariners are going to finish last in the division.
Not okay.
I don't think they're very good.
I had this.
Yeah.
Is this the Yankee fan Robinson Cano hating?
Not at all.
Fan talking.
I think.
No,
I
can attest to that. It's not. If he was hating,
I'd be hating. You would know I'd be hating. Robinson Cano is the best second baseman in baseball. There's no denying that. Pedroia's close second, but Cano is the best second baseman in baseball. And DK, to go to your point, for a lot of his career, he had so much protection, and he was hitting in front of Teixeira behind a healthy A-Rod, and Jeter was there, Gardner, all those guys. Last year was the difference. Last year he carried the load. With all of the injuries the Yankees had.
And hit well.
The only mainstay we had in the lineup. Cano played 160 games.
No, I know, but the mindset's going to be different. If you're
mindset changed last year.
But if I'm Robinson Cano on a depleted Yankee lineup, right?
Yeah.
And I'm carrying the load this year, I have the mentality of I just got to carry the load this year until we get healthy again for next year, and then I can fall back.
You could see something like.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Does he have the mentality to go to Seattle and just continue to think like, you know what I mean? Like, continue to think.
I have two thoughts. One is you might be able to see something like we see it when players get big contracts. Specifically, Albert Pujols when he got his big contract with the Angels, that 10-year, however many $1 billion he got, and he struggled for the first year of his contract. Now, that might have also had to do with injury.
And age.
When it comes to Cano, look, he's played in New York. I don't think pressure is going to get to him as much for the first
Fair
some
enough.
odd
And
seasons
I
of his
feel like
career.
he went to the right team because I don't think the Seattle fan base is...
Right. And I will say, I think that a lot of that could be mixed in. His numbers might drop again because he's playing in Safeco and not...
But
and right, you won't have...
We're stepping on Sean's AL West right
now.
No, this is important.
You won't have the 2-foot porch in right field to hit to anymore.
That's true. That's true.
I don't see much.
But we're burying Sean's lead that he thinks the Astros are going to finish ahead of the Mariners.
I do.
That's crazy.
You
are a crazy man.
You said the pitching staff, Felix Hernandez and Hisashi Iwakuma, are as good as you get. I'm not a big believer in Iwakuma. He had a big year last year.
Really good year last season.
And outside of him, there's nothing from that pitching staff that makes me say, oh, this team's got a chance of winning the division. There's nothing that tells me that. I don't think their offense is as good as people are expecting it to be. Corey Hart once was a terror to face the plate. When he was in Milwaukee, he was. I mean, him and Braun and Prince Fielder, they were ridiculous. They were tough outs. Yeah. Corey Hart's way past his prime, and he's been injured for a couple of years. I don't think he'll ever return to what he was. Justin Smoke has promise. He's the one guy I look to like you said, an important factor in the American League West. If he can get going and be the second punch to Cano, then yeah, the Mariners have a shot, maybe a third or second. I don't give the Mariners any chance to win the division.
Wow.
I'm picking them to finish last. And I know it sounds silly.
Ahead of the Astros.
I know it sounds silly to put the Astros ahead of them, but
Sean.
You know what? The Astros got some additions. A guy named Dexter Fowler. He played in Colorado the past couple of years, playing in the thin air up in Coors Field. But Fowler's a solid center fielder. He can cover a ton of ground, and I don't know if
congratulations, they got one Major League Baseball player.
You know, this is in the basement with Sean the Heckler. If you continue this, we're gonna kick you out. I don't care if I get fired. We're gonna kick you out. The Astros are good. And
wait. So hold on. What did you just say?
Let me finish that. The Astros are good because when you look at what the Astros have
going
been,
to be good and good right now are two different.
When you look at what the Astros have been the past 3-4 years, they've been the laughing stock. They've been the Philadelphia 76ers of Major League Baseball.
Good call, by the way.
They're not there anymore. They have some bats. Chris Carter's a bat. This guy Jonathan Villar. I don't know if you've played anything.
Slide.
He's a terror on the base pass.
He can do some things. Jose Altuve was an all-star. I know every team gets an all-star, but Jose Altuve, all 5-6 of them, solid second baseman. Matt Dominguez, a guy playing third base, he could make a bit of a jump. And a guy named Scott Feldman. I know that's not a big-name guy.
He's
not an ace, but he's their number one starter. And I know we said we're not changing this
for
on the
the
first 2 days.
Astros, that's a solid number one starter.
That's a solid number one starter.
solid number one
If you look
starter.
at what they had, Bud Norris is not an ace. I don't care what anyone tries to tell me.
And if
They
he falls
traded him.
into, I was gonna say, as long as he falls into a number 2 role somewhere, he'll be fine.
He'll probably be the number 4 starter in Baltimore this year.
Oh.
But a guy like Scott Feldman, he's going to solidify the rotation. He's a good pitcher. They've got a bunch of young arms. They've drafted extremely well.
Is it Jordan Lyles?
Jordan Lyles is down there. They still have Mark Appel from
he's a strikeout
Stanford.
machine.
I think they got rid of Jordan Lyles actually.
Really?
He's I think he's on the Rockies. I want to say,
Oh.
but
Okay.
um,
Carlos Correa is there. He's going to be a solid third baseman for the future as
I
well.
agree with that. Yes.
I know you're saying that good in the future is different from good in the present, but I think Houston's going to stick around in that American League West. I don't think anyone's going to run away with this division. I'll get to the other teams later. I think it's going to be a race all the way through, and I think there's going to come a time when they say, hey, you know what? Let's get these young guys some experience right now. We have some veterans around. Fowler, Chris Carter's there, Dominguez, Jason Castro's a vet. They have some vets to come in and help those young guys. That if they want to bring those guys up, sometime around September, maybe a little bit earlier in August, I see Houston making a bit of a push. I don't think they're going to be a laughing stock this year.
All right.
And I think Seattle, you know what? There's way too many question marks for me. I know there's a ton of question marks with Houston, but I'm going out on a limb. I'm saying Houston ends up with a better record than Seattle.
I will.
You know,
for
we
Kansas-
should make a gentlemanly bet then. If you don't agree,
I-
I want to. It's being recorded right here. We got
I
audio.
know it's on the line.
What? Soda pop.
I don't know.
Pizza.
Let Sean host a show.
A dinner and In-N-Out. How about that?
A dinner and
There you
There
go.
you go.
All right.
There you go.
So we'll go with that.
So to be clear, he is
Dinner and
Sean
In-N-Out.
is saying that
Houston
the
has a better
Astros will have a better record than the Mariners, and if they do, Greg owes In-N-Out. If not, the other way around.
I know we're
Yes.
spending a lot of time on the Astros
In-N-Out.
now, but there's one sec, just for a rebuttal,
Okay.
very quickly.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. The Astros they have stock-loaded prospects like no other team. They are taking tanking to the next level these past few seasons, which is what you're bottoming out.
They're seeing beat, I think.
Yeah, right. That's what
Past
they're.
couple years they weren't tanking. They
They're
were
not.
horrible.
They're horrible because
just
they're
horrible.
trying to lose to get a number one pick.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of minor leaguers which can play, but they're still in the minor leagues. Carlos Correa is still a ways away from becoming a major leaguer. And if you look at their roster right now, I'd be shocked if a year from now, 4 of the 5 starters aren't in there. Maybe shocked 3 of the 5 starters aren't in their rotation a year from now.
The pitching,
I think 3 of the 5 won't be in their rotation a year from
I
now.
don't know. Lucas Harrell's pretty good. And so is Dallas. So is it Keuchel?
Okay, Keuchel.
Keuchel? Is that how you... Oh my
Dallas
God.
Okay.
Keuchel.
I'm not an Astros fan. I do not know how to pronounce
Again,
it.
we're spending a lot of time with the Astros. Here's what I was thinking.
Look how young they are. Pitching.
They're super young, but thank you, DK. Scott Feldman is okay. He's not anything to write home about. Jared Kozart's a nice young pitcher, but besides that, nobody else there is even not remotely, but nobody else there is really that much of a prospect either. And Dexter Fowler's a good hitter, but he was in Colorado, which inflated his numbers. He's a good fielder. Sosa Altuve's pretty good. I think you said it, Sean. He made the All-Star team, but that's because the Astros need an All-Star. Jason Castro is showing some signs, but he's just not there yet, and he might even get traded during the season. And Altuve might too. And besides that, I don't see any of those other players as starting position players on a team.
You know, though,
And even a remotely good team.
I feel like if they have a lead with that middle relief and Matt Albers and Qualls in the back end, they might win a couple of games and steal some.
I don't think Chad Qualls and Matt Albers are that good either.
Well,
How
That's
many
my
how many Astros games did you watch last year?
I watched
he's gonna bust it out. He's gonna bust. No, you don't
I watched
understand.
a few.
This
I
man,
watched a few.
Chad Qualls is a closer. He can close.
he's probably watched 30 or 40
I
Astro
do.
games.
I watched a ton of Astros
Chad
last
Qualls
year.
can close.
This man
telling
watched
you.
preseason NBA basketball games.
96, 97 mile an hour.
Not
live
just the
fastball.
Miami Heat style, but like
He's got a change up. I'm telling you.
like Philadelphia
You're
versus like.
you're sleeping on the Astros. I'm not saying they're going to win the division.
I know you're not saying they're going to make the
They're gonna
playoffs
be,
or anything.
They're going to be better than a lot of people think they are.
All right,
They're
I
a good
completely
team.
disagree.
LJ
I'd be,
Hose,
they're
This
going to be better than
brought
last.
to you by In-N-Out.
They're not going to be better than. They're going to be good 2 years from now, but they're not going to be good this season.
All
And
right.
then they're going to be the worst team in the American League.
All right, that's our first disagreement.
Alrighty, but we spent like 20 minutes on the
That's
Astros,
fine, we
but
got
that was
plenty
good.
of
I got to finish my AL West.
for it,
You
go
guys,
for it, my
you guys
friend.
gave me your AL West.
Go for it.
I got the A's in third.
Ooh.
The A's in third.
Okay.
And it's because I think this division is going to go down to the wire. I think it's going to come down to literally the last weekend, probably the last game.
I agree.
And I think the top three teams, Rangers, Angels, and A's, are going to be within at least
Game and a half,
two games, probably a game and a half, right around there. I think it's going to come down to the end of the season. And it just comes down to who I trust more. I don't trust the A's that much. Jared Parker's a really good pitcher, and he was their ace. Now, Sonny Gray
They
is...
pick up Jimmy Johnson, though, at the end, at back end of the bullpen.
And I'll tell you about Jimmy Johnson in just a second. Their pitching staff is deep. None of those guys scare you. None of those guys seem like an ace, but all of them are solid number 2 starters, basically. That's what their rotation is. A bunch of guys who would be solid number 2 starters.
Agreed.
That's good. That'll get you a ton of wins.
is a really good number 2 starter.
And that puts you in any playoff race possible. Their offense is solid. Josh Donaldson is a he's a bona fide hitter. I think Cespedes makes a bit of a jump this year. I think he starts playing well. I don't trust Coco Crisp at all. I know he comes up with some timely hits, but longevity this year.
You're saying you don't trust a 34-year-old leadoff hitter?
I don't trust a 34-year-old leadoff hitter. I'm also not a big fan of Coco Crisp, but I think he played for the Red Sox.
I was going to say he used to play for the Red Sox.
Josh Reddick used to play for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I think he's going to fall flat on his face this year.
I know he shaved, but when he used to like Daniel Bryan.
Yes. He's not going to be that good this year. I don't trust the A's. That's what it comes down to. They've had 2 very good years and a really good run, and you ask any experts, and it's kind of hard to explain what the A's have done looking at their roster and their pitching staff. They've just put it all together. They've got timely hits. They had a ton of walk-offs last year, and Grant Balfour saved a bunch of one-run games last year. And here it is. DK said they went out and got Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson is well known for blowing saves.
In the AL East.
In the AL East.
And AL West is different.
Anyone who watched the first A's game of the year knows Jimmy Johnson is already not well liked up there in Oakland. He already blew a save. Jim Johnson got 50 saves, and I believe the other year he got 48 saves in the past 2 years of Baltimore. He's a terrific closer, but he blows saves. Grant Balfour was very underrated for this Oakland A team. He came into a lot of tough situations, a lot of pressure situations, and shut the door. Balfour rage was a real thing.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore. Jim Johnson's his own thing. He's a different type of closer. I don't know how well that's going to work out. It's a downgrade. That's how I'm going to put it. It's a downgrade from Balfour to go to Jimmy Johnson.
We almost completely disagree on everything.
My fantasy baseball team hates your assessment right now.
He's going to put up 40, 45 saves, but he's going to blow a lot of them too.
The man had a 2.94 ERA last year, and he had a 2.49 ERA the year before that.
And the earned runs that he gave up were walk-offs. He blows saves, Greg.
I don't think that's something that he can control. Obviously he can control it.
As a closer, you should control when you blow saves.
That didn't come out right. But he's been a good pitcher.
The A's are going to drop off from him. I said they're going to...
I like how your argument keeps going back to he's a good pitcher.
How good pitchers are going to save games? If you come into enough games, you're going to blow some. That's what happens. Except for Mariano Rivera.
You just described every closer in the big leagues. I think the A's are going to drop off.
And butt our rating up to a PG.
I think the Angels are second. I think the Angels are second.
Yeah, I think we all agree that the Angels are second.
They're going to be right there. They're going to be right there in the race, and I think the Rangers pull it out for this reason. And it was something you guys brought up. You don't think their depth at the pitching spot is good enough. Matt Harrison's a really good pitcher. He's very underrated. A strong left-hander.
Has he come back from his neck thing, though?
He's going to come back, I heard 2 weeks. I heard somewhere around 2 weeks. And the other guy, the true ace of the staff, not Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish is not the ace of the Ranger staff.
Okay.
It's Derek Holland.
All right.
Derek Holland is the ace of the Ranger staff. And when
I would agree.
When he's healthy, he's their go-to pitcher.
Oh, boy.
Yu Darvish is...
You had a one-game playoff, you'd rather have Derek Holland than Yu Darvish on the mound.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
I would.
Hold on, because...
Oh, goodness.
Here's the thing. Yu Darvish is a beast. He's their stud. But Derek Holland is their, Mark Burley. You know what I mean? On the Blue Jays...
He pitches all.
On the White Sox, no matter who came to the White Sox, Mark Burley was their ace.
Burley was your ace. That's what Holland is to the Texas Rangers. Darvish is the moneymaker. Darvish is the strikeout getter. But if you need a game, if you need 7 strong innings, But Derek Holland's a guy. Look, Greg, we can argue that all you want, but it just goes to my point that the pitching depth is there for Texas. They
I agree
just
with
have to
that.
get healthy.
I agree with that.
If
We're
Alexia
only one
Gondo,
division down.
if Alexia
Not even
Gondo
down
is
yet.
healthy, I think Alexia Gondo he's a great
Really
number
good
4
depth.
starter
Really good
if
depth.
he's your number 4.
But who's going to close it out? Are you going to really trade
Soria.
Joakim Soria?
I don't
or
trust
whatever?
Soria. I think at some point they come to their senses and say, you know what? Neftali Feliz closed a lot of games.
He's in the
out
minor
for us.
leagues right now.
He's in the minors. He's got to prove he can get his velocity back.
Hold on, though. You got to convince him that he's not a starter.
You have to, I think someone's going to get into his ear and say, "Look, you're a closer. You're going to be our closer."
Maybe they call Nolan Ryan.
Well,
to
I
give him a
thought
call.
he wanted to be a closer last year.
No,
Or did he
He
want
wa-
to be a starter?
He wanted to convert to a
He
starter.
wants to be a
He got
starter.
tired of saving games, so he wanted to convert. I think he'll be a real big part of that bullpen
Which
come the end of
confuses
the
me
season.
because if you're helping the team win,
Me too.
you're helping the team win.
I think the Rangers have enough, and you talked about there's a couple of holes. Urickson Profar is going to be out for I think 2 months now, which is
That's going to hurt him.
it's a big blow. They'll probably look at a middle infielder. I wouldn't rule out Steven Drew. I think at some point they'll have to consider getting him and converting him to second base, but that's a move that we could see. But to go out and get a guy like Shin-Soo Choo, he was the most underrated player on the Cincinnati Reds last year, and the big red machine was a humming last year. He's a leadoff guy. He gets on base. He's not a guy who's gonna wow you with any crazy
Can't
hits.
field either.
You know what? He's gonna be playing left field in Texas, and it's not a tough
that
place.
difficult to
Not
play
a tough
in
place to
Texas.
play. I think he was a big pickup to bring Alex Rios back. That's a big deal. And Leonis Martin, he's not going to wow you with his bat, but fielding wise,
He can field.
He's very good.
He can develop into that
He
hitter
could.
that everyone wants him to
He
be.
could.
But right now, he saves a lot of runs.
and I mean,
keeps guys off base.
you look at their batting order right now. It goes Chu, Elvis Andrews, Prince Fielder, Adrian Beltre, and Alex Rios. Those
All right.
are 5 real tough outs going all the way down the line.
I think that. I agree that the point you made. I agree that they have a ton of depth.
Mhm.
They have players in the minor leagues that could help them out. They're one of the best farm systems in the game.
one of you.
And like you said, Tali Feliz is in the minors. Alexio Gondo has great stuff as always. They're just trying to figure out what to do with him. But
Yeah.
I'm not as in love with the lineup, first of all, as you are. I think that Shin-Soo Choo, Prince Fielder, and Adrian Beltre are all really good hitters. But besides that, I mean, Alex Rios had a big year last season. He's going to help going to Texas because it's
They're
in a
going to
smaller
miss
park.
AJ Brzezinski.
Okay, I'll settle down, DK.
Brzezinski's a
Alex
stable
Rios.
catcher. I agree with that statement.
That pitching staff.
I will say they will because J.P. Arancibia is maybe the worst player in the major
I
leagues
thought you
right
were going to make a case why he's
now.
better than
J.P.
like,
Arancibia is an awful catcher. Leonis, the bottom of the order is not very good right now without Profar. And even when Profar has been in the lineup, he's still trying to figure things out. He's probably going to be a good hitter, but he's not right now.
For 21 years old,
Right.
though, he's
Exactly.
he's a
Pretty
pretty
amazing.
damn good hit.
Moreland, I think he's an okay hitter. He's got power, but he doesn't get on base all that much.
He'll put up
Same
16,
with Alex
17
Rios.
homers.
I think it's going to be a good hitting club, not great, and I don't think it's going to be enough to carry the load with a pitching staff. But I think could be okay. I completely disagree. Obviously, I completely disagree that I think Yu Darvish is maybe the best pitcher in baseball right now. But and Derek Holland has struggled the last few seasons, staying healthy. First of all, he's on the 60-day DL right now.
Well, that's it.
And
he struggled with health.
Matt Harrison
he's
has
healthy.
been
Holland is
hurt.
Holland is there.
They have some interesting players in their starting rotation right now. But
Greg, even though you're talking about their pitching, I would worry more about. I mean, I know Prince Fielder is a really good acquisition for a straight up trade with Ian Kinsler, but like they're gonna miss the fact that Ian Kinsler, when he doesn't hit home runs, can hit a double and not strike out.
And steal a base. Every now
And you know what?
then.
Case in point, today I was watching the game against
Hit a
Toronto.
huge
They're in the
day.
11th inning,
Hit a huge
12th
day.
inning, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Bases are loaded, and he saw, hit one up the middle
Yeah.
to get the run.
He hit a
didn't
home
care
run,
about
too.
he hit a home run.
Had a double.
Prince Fielder, I love him. He's a great player. My brother, an Angels fan, wishes they would sign him instead of Albert Pujols, back in the day.
Yep.
But he has a propensity to strike out. He's excited.
He's a better hitter than Ian Kinsler.
Not in certain situations.
I think he is.
Not in certain.
Overall,
You know what?
Kinsler.
Overall, I'd
hold
say
on.
Fielder.
Talk to Tiger
By
fans in the
far.
playoffs. Ask Tiger fans in the playoffs.
Ask anyone
Listen,
to watch the playoffs.
Is one for the series?
I
really
know.
good?
I know.
I'm
you
just
guys-
saying, like
you guys
Ian
know him.
Kinsler usually he's a professional hitter.
Yeah, he is.
So I mean, like I don't.
Very small sample in the playoffs. First of all,
The
Second-
World Series year. That's
Still,
with Milwaukee
50 some
in the
odd at
playoffs.
bats.
He was
not-
never good with Milwaukee in the playoffs.
Okay,
can
I'm
look
not
at-
as concerned about that.
you
But
can
if you
look at-
just
I'm
look,
just saying.
DK, to go back to your last point, look at their starting rotation. I'm really concerned because Most of their
I
starting
have them
pitch players
finishing
are
third.
hurt.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. I agree. Joe Saunders is not a good pitcher. Robbie Ross is a converted guy from the bullpen. You don't know about him. Same with Tanner Scheppers. Martin Perez could be okay,
By
but
saying that, though, I
he's
have
a
a
young
third.
player.
I agree with what Sean said in that my first, second, third, Oakland, Anaheim, Texas, could finish in any order of those
Right.
three within a game and a half, 2 games of each other.
So-
I just think it's going to end up like this.
Yeah.
and we
So-
should say we all agree that those three teams
Any
are
one
gonna
of them
be-
could win.
But okay, so just to recap, want to say,
Hold on.
Go ahead,
One
Sean.
more thing on the Rangers rotation. We're not going to get into trades or anything. David Price is available. Texas has a loaded farm
He did,
system.
he did go to Vanderbilt, so
They
it's
have
close
a-
to Tennessee.
They have a loaded farm
That was a
system.
bit of a stretch.
A bit of a stretch. Bit of a stretch with Vandy. But there are some Vandy fans in Texas, sure. If there's a landing spot for David Price, Texas would have to be thrown into the discussion. They did it with Matt Garza
Price.
last year. David Price could be a huge
Another
acquisition.
one.
That's another big one. You know what? If pitching depth really gets down on them, they could unload some of the farm system.
And I
and go
think that's a
after
good
an
point
ace.
because I think a lot of people when they make these predictions, a lot of times it's not one in free agency. A lot of time what makes the difference are players
Trades.
that are acquired during the season.
The trade deadline's a huge part,
So-
and we can't really factor that in. I mean, that's so tough
That's
to
right,
factor in
exactly.
where teams are going to be.
But-
But it's just something to think about that they have a loaded farm system. I think they'd be willing to go after a guy and pay a guy like David Price. So that could be a spot. That was my only
So
thing.
I'm just gonna go around and pick our final order for the American League West.
Yeah,
from
recap.
me.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually pick A's first.
Okay.
I have the Angels finishing second. We didn't touch on very much.
Mike
For
Trout's
me,
amazing.
For me, it
Pujols,
comes down to Hector Santiago and Tyler Skaggs, or their
back end of the rotation.
back end of the rotation.
Yes.
I think they're going to do well. And I think kind of everything went wrong for them the last few seasons.
Oh, everything went
Yeah.
wrong for them,
And
other
I
than Mike
think
Trout.
Hamilton
Right.
and Pujols
Bounce back.
bounce back in
Bounce
a big
back
way.
huge, right.
And I saw a stat that says Hamilton's in the middle of a 16-game hitting streak or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
dating back to last
Dating back
season,
to
yeah.
last year. And
Another guy too. I know he's old, and I know he has a lot of wear and tear. Raul Ibanez
Okay.
can still hit home runs.
hey, and he's going to help that Angels team.
As
He
a
can still
seventh
hit
or
the
sixth
ball.
hitter,
Hold on.
he
No,
can
no,
do worse.
but he's going to help that Angels team in 2 ways.
DH him.
One, he can DH, but he can play the outfield when
He can play
sometimes.
corner outfield.
But two, he's going to take a lot of pressure off Pujols and Hamilton because he's going to drive in some runs.
He's protection.
So he's going to drive in some runs. You can't afford to walk them to get to 5, 6, 7 anymore because Raul Ibanez can drive in 2 runners.
I don't
on
think
base.
people are scared of a Raul Ibanez.
You don't have to be
Well, that's
scared of him,
fine.
but he's
But then all of
going
a
to
sudden,
drive
he's gonna, I was going to say, you can be not afraid of him, but he's hitting a 2-run home run off you, and then
He also has a 280 on base.
As a
Just wanna
Yankee
throw that out
fan,
there.
Raul Ibanez never has to buy another drink.
I know you love him.
Because of what he did in that Yankee postseason game.
How'd
where he
that
hit 2 home
Tiger
runs.
series turn out?
For Raul Ibanez, look, I have
not
a soft,
too good for Prince Fielder.
I have a soft spot for Ibanez. I think he'll do well in LA this year. He's good protection for Pujols and Hamilton.
He's on the right LA team.
So-
There's not as much
Right.
pressure on the Angels to perform as a free agent.
So-
and the Dodgers don't need any more outfielders.
Yeah, no more.
So,
They
uh,
can't DH anyone.
No more outfielders.
so
you
I was
have
A's,
Angels.
Rangers. A's, Angels, Mariners,
Okay.
Rangers. Oh, I'm down on, as you guys can tell. And then the Astros.
Okay.
DK,
And
go for it.
I have Oakland, Anaheim, Los Angeles, Angels, Anaheim,
That's what-
Texas in third. But like I said, those three I could see them anyway. They're about a game and a half, 2 games after each other. Seattle, I feel like, is going to be way further back than them. And then Houston, I feel like, finishes behind them just barely.
Sean?
I got Rangers, Angels, A's, Astros, and Mariners. I think
There you
Mariners
go.
finished last. So
Astros in 4th place. You heard it here first. All right, that's a pretty good discussion, guys. Good job, guys.
And I think one of the wild card teams comes out of the AL West, and it's going to be the Angels.
okay.
Ooh, wow.
And we'll do our playoffs after all the divisions.
Oh, damn it,
No,
sorry.
that's
All right, guys.
that's a good preview for it.
So
American League Central.
we've gone half an hour. We're done with one division. Good
Yeah,
job,
see,
fellas.
you know what? I feel like we're ahead of schedule. I thought it'd be like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. You
All
know?
right.
With him, I thought we'd be here
We,
a
Right.
little
we
longer.
talked
so.
for how long about NFL? Like,
Oh, we would spend an hour on one matchup. No, we're
All
good.
right.
We're doing well. So
Let's
we're
go.
going
Let's go to American League Central.
we have one more person
Which
who's
is-
going this fast.
Who put this guy in charge? Come on, American
Guys,
League Central.
You're
Let's
my
do it.
boss. You're my boss.
You know what?
I'm your boss.
I
sorry.
feel like the AL Central probably a little bit more of an agree.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just thinking
It's the
we can-
worst
but-
division in baseball.
But you go first
for me.
once again.
It's the worst division in baseball.
We can breeze through the American League.
And I think.
Worst division.
Listen, I think we're all in. Everybody. Does anybody not have the Tigers? winning the division.
I got the Tigers.
I got
Right.
I think the real question is second.
Right.
Yeah,
For me, I do want to note the Tigers. I'm not a fan of anything they did in the offseason at all. I don't like that they
I love
traded.
Kinsler.
Oh, Kinsler, yeah.
I'm a huge Kinsler
That
fan.
solidifies.
I mean,
the
I
real
think that was
infield.
kind of a, for me, it was kind of a wash for me.
They needed a
And I think it kind of
middle
makes their, they certainly helps their defense. You're right about that, Sean. But it hurts their bats. Prince Fielder's a much better hitter.
I think
No,
I think
because
Victor Martinez
he
steps
fits
up this year.
perfectly into Comerica Park.
Yep.
That's a doubles park, and Ian Kinsler's a
Lots
double
of
machine.
space. Lots
Right.
of
Fielder
space.
had a bad year last
And
season.
all AL Central is pretty much doubles parks, and I mean, he can hit it out, but he's going to hit more 2-run doubles than anything.
I just, yeah,
Gap
I
to
agree.
gap.
I
They
just,
got
I
Joe
worry
Nathan,
about,
too.
I worry about their hitting.
They got Joe
For me.
Nathan. They got a closer.
I know you. I, know that sounds
I wish
weird.
he would have been younger, but
Hitting
Joe
and
Nathan
back
is a
end of
legit
their-
He's a
closer.
legit closer.
I mean, I don't. The Doug Fister trade was weird for me.
I didn't like that
Joe
at all.
Nathan,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
a legitimate closer.
Yeah.
Although
but
I don't think
still
Doug Fister's
the
as
middle
good as
relievers. They have
everyone
MLB
thinks.
depth chart has Jabba Chamberlain as one of their setup guys, which
Wait,
is
what?
scary for me.
That should scare every.
The Tigers have
Tiger
Jabba
fan.
Chamberlain?
Yeah.
And I
Good
own
job,
a,
DK.
I own a Jabba Chamberlain jersey, and I
God.
believe in nothing Jabba Chamberlain does on the baseball field.
But for me, the
What did they like?
I think they're
Take a
another.
couple of Yankees that weren't good and put them on their bullpen.
They're,
Phil Koch and Jabba Chamberlain.
Phil Koch was a great Yankee, and I miss
They're
him.
kind of a top-heavy lineup, like Miguel
Miss
Cabrera.
Just wanted to see your
Right,
reaction.
right. Ian Kinsler, I think, is good, but he's on the downside of his career. Torrey Hunter's another guy who's, in his mid-30s, upper 30s. I think they've gotten worse than last year, but they're still a really good team. I mean, and they play in a bad division, so they're going to get a lot of wins. Verlander, Scherzer, Annabelle Sanchez is tough to get better than that in your top three.
That's
Pretty
good.
what it comes out.
And you
That's
know what?
pretty good.
Especially if your 4 is Porcello and
Yeah.
your 5 is Drew Smiley. That's like
Yeah.
Smiley's
they're gonna-
good.
Yeah, they're gonna beat up on every other 4-5s in the division.
Right.
All right, so the Tigers are winning the division. We can
Tigers
all
are going to
agree.
win the
Tigers
division, but
Who got
let's.
second?
Who do you have second, Greg?
For me,
Well, second on down.
Second, this is what I struggled with because they're all just like, well, obviously the Twins and White Sox are at the bottom too for me.
Really?
You guys,
Really?
Twins
hold that
are for
thought.
sure.
Hold that thought.
Twins and White Sox.
But I have, this is tough. I'm going with the Kansas City Royals second in the division
Me too.
because I think they just have some young talent that's really coming out of the scene
I'm
right
not, but I have an
now.
explanation for that.
You want an explanation for that?
No, I said I'm not picking them second, but I'll have an explanation for that when I go.
For me, it's, look, as I said, just because they're second doesn't mean they're a really good team because the division's so bad. But I think they have enough young talent on the team. Norchika Aoki was a good player
great
for
pickup.
Brewers
He is
That's a
great
great
last
pickup.
season. I still really
James
concerned
Shields, a
about
great
their
trade.
He's a great.
really concerned about the rotation. I think Yordano Ventura is a really good young pitcher.
Yeah.
James Shields is really underrated.
Well,
He's an ace.
You know why they upgraded their pitching staff, right?
Right.
They
Why?
got rid of Urban Santana.
Or they should have re-signed Irvin Santana. He was excellent for them last year.
No, Urban Santana has a history of doing good, getting that contract, and then failing.
I don't know.
Just ask the Angels.
Watch
Ask the
what he
Angels.
does for the Braves this year. I think he's going to be good.
You know
for
what
them,
though?
but
He lucked out. He signed
I
with
think
the
he figured something
Wait,
out. last
Urban
year.
Santana doesn't usually do what he just did this offseason. Normally, he
Make
either
a
gets
good career decision.
Yeah, he either gets too much money from the team, or he picks a poor team to go to aside from the
Right.
normal team. But this
He's only
year,
been on 3 teams.
He's right.
and they've been horrible.
Been on
after
the Royals and Angels.
I don't. But when he left for the Royals, he actually chose to go to the Royals.
Right.
That
And he had
was
a great
horrible.
season
Took the
for them.
money.
He had
He
a
took the-
great
that was
season.
a horrible choice.
They almost made the playoffs last year.
He didn't
Oh
have a
my
great
gosh.
He
season.
did.
Oh my
Irvin
God.
Santana had a really good season last year.
This guy. Jeez.
Oh god, I'm
Anyway,
on the Irvin
anyway.
Santana. But anyways,
He picked the right choice. He went to the
thanks.
Braves.
Shields, Ventura, I think are going to be good. Guthrie, I think is so-so, and then Bruce Chen, and Jason Vargas aren't very good.
Jason Vargas.
Jason Vargas is okay. I shouldn't say that. He's okay.
Bruce Chen can be good.
And Bruce Chen can. If
Bruce
he's your
Chen's
fourth or
not
fifth
bad. Oh,
starter.
goodness.
He can be good.
Look,
Oh, boy.
there's one name that truly matters.
55-year-old Bruce Chen.
It's Alex Gordon.
Yeah.
Alex Gordon is going to surprise some people this year. He's going to make a push.
I think
He's going to be all
I think
star.
Gordon has already made his push. He's 30 years old.
You know, Omar
He is what he
Fonte
is
was a
at this
good
point for
pickup.
me. I think
Billy Butler can hit.
Eric
can
Hosmer
hit
is the
some
guy that I
lines.
think everybody's just waiting for him to break out, and I think this could be the year. And I'm going to say that every year until he does.
Huh?
So
I think Lorenzo Cain is one of the best defensive players.
yeah,
in Major
no,
League
he's good. He's
Baseball.
really good. And their bullpen's good too.
So you
And
got
the
the
Moose.
So you got
Right.
the Royals
At
finishing
third.
second. Huh?
Right. So I definitely have the Royals in second, Indians in third, and then I have the Twins in fourth, and White Sox in fifth.
You got White Sox
Alright.
last?
Wow. All right. Well,
No love for the Indians?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think last year they kind of did it with smoke and mirrors.
I was gonna say the same thing with how the AL West first, second, third is gonna be like a game and a half, 2 games from each other. I
Okay.
think second through fourth is gonna be pretty much the same thing. Like
Yeah.
who finishes second?
But
and
the
who finishes
Tigers
fourth.
are up here.
But yeah, the Tigers are gonna win about.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
win
been the
like
same
10
story the
games.
last few seasons.
Okay.
I think Cleveland finishes second. They take the experience from last year. They make a good run with it and
Okay.
try to lure maybe another free agent in this coming up offseason to maybe get closer to Tigers and make a wild card. But they finish second.
Okay.
I think the White Sox finish third because they have just enough pitching and just enough offense to finish third and maybe run at second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might be
They
changing
don't
that
have
pick.
enough in the end.
I was looking at the Twins roster. Go ahead, DK.
And then fourth, I think just barely fourth, I think is Kansas City. I think in the beginning of the year, they're there, right by the All-Star break. They're having like a good season, and then they kind of hit the wall.
Yeah.
They fall off a little bit. They finish fourth, and I think Minnesota I think, and this is exaggeration. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Okay.
But I think Minnesota does so bad this year that people start talking about contracting the Twins again.
Wow.
Like almost like
DK,
they're
they
gonna,
just got a new stadium.
I understand that, but
That'd be
I
kinda
feel like
funny.
they're gonna be competing, in my opinion, with the Astros for the worst record in the American League.
Yeah, I would like to, before we get to
Possibly
Sean, I'd like to make an
not Major League
amendment. I think the White Sox and Twins are both going to be really bad this year. I think the White Sox might be a little less bad because they have a little bit more pitching, but I still think that the Twins, because they play in a big ballpark, I kind of like the Phil Hughes acquisition. Sean, bear with me. But the White Sox, they're not going to be able to hit to save their lives.
But I
which
agree.
is
A
the
couple of
problem
key
for me.
people, I think, is for the White Sox. Obviously, it's going to be Chris Sale.
Yeah.
Like, can they make the most of his starts and get wins instead of no decisions for not scoring? For Cleveland, it's hard for me to call him a key player just because I feel like he's just not really anymore. But Nick Swisher.
He's a key player.
Well, I mean, in that the
he's
Jason,
good.
I'm gonna think in that Jason Kipnis also is on the Indians. So like, I feel like,
Jason Kipnis is good too.
Yeah.
but I feel like
We can have two
Nick-
key players.
Yeah, don't feel
Yeah.
bad about having two. Swisher's a key player for the Indians. He's
So-
going to play every day. He has
that's
to.
true. That's
Yeah.
true, and it's gonna come down to can he hit? Because or field. Sorry, can he field his position wherever they put him?
Yeah.
Does he become a defensive liability or not?
Well,
and whatnot?
speaking as a Yankee fan, yes, Swisher can hit, but once it turns October, you might as well sit him on the bench because he will
Hey,
swing and miss at everything.
And that's why Jason Giambi is sitting on that bench.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
That's why Swisher's no longer wearing pinstripes because he couldn't hit in the playoffs.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I mean, the Twins. I think Mauer has a good year at first, but I think they proved to him that he doesn't need to want to basically stay for the rest of his career. I think he's going to want to demand a trade by midseason.
Okay, go for it. Go for it, Sean.
Minnesota Twins are the worst team in baseball. I've said it. They're the worst team in baseball. Their starting rotation is horrible. You said the name Phil Hughes. They're going to rely on Phil Hughes this year.
Fly ball pitcher in a good pitcher's park.
Let me tell you where that gets you. Relying on Phil Hughes, nowhere. That gets you nowhere. The Twins are terrible. Joe Mauer, like DK just said, I think he has to come to the realization that they're not building anything there. They're not working to get better. They're not pushing to
Don't
make the
go
playoffs.
to the Yankees, but trying to go
Oh,
somewhere.
Mauer wouldn't go to the Yankees, but I think there's going
It's
to
his hometown.
That's why
God.
he's still there. If he wasn't from Minnesota, he would have been gone 5 years
Well,
ago.
of course, he's basically this generation's Kirby Puckett for the Twins. You know what I mean? Like,
Except
he's-
Kirby Puckett won a World Series.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is like he's gonna be there through
Right,
thick
no, I
and
agree, I
thin
agree.
until the Twins actually go. We don't want you here.
Yeah, no, I agree with Sean. The Twins are really bad. I
And
think
I-
I'm picking them fifth.
And that's a shame because Joe Mauer,
He's a great player.
I don't care. If you're making a top 5 hitters list in Major League Baseball, Joe Mauer's on that list for me. Just hitting, he's a pure hitter.
Pure hitter.
He can do anything, and to hit in that lineup with no protection. Josh Willingham has been his protection for
All
4 or
right.
5 years.
Okay.
Mauer.
Justin Murneau.
Mauer's amazing, and it pains me to see him waste his
man.
career in Minnesota. Minnesota's the worst team in baseball.
You know what the worst thing to happen to Mauer was? The Twins got rid of Torrey Hunter.
That's true.
Worse than the Cubs, worse than the Astros, worse than the Marlins, all those guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Twins are the worst team in baseball.
Oh yeah, they don't have was it? Giancarlo
Could be
Stanton?
surprised by Ricky Nolasco and Phil Hughes in a pitcher's park.
Nolasco's
That's what
okay.
I-
Phil Hughes no.
Listen,
Next,
Take it from
I'm
the
on the
Dodger
Phil Hughes
fan.
bandwagon.
Take it from the Dodger fan.
You
We
should.
wanted 3 days rest Greinke over a fully rested Nolasco.
You should jump off the Phil Hughes bandwagon as quickly as... I don't care if it kills you. You should jump off that bullet train heading straight to nowhere.
I think
Jump
even
off.
Phil Hughes' family have jumped off that
Should
bandwagon.
we keep track of all the disagreements we have?
Oh,
Phil
no.
Hughes, over under 4 ERA for Phil Hughes this year.
Oh,
What? There's an under for 4?
Under.
You're picking the under?
Yeah.
You didn't say 4 or 5. You said 4, right?
Yeah, 4.00.
That means that Phil Hughes is going to have a 3-point-something ERA?
It's going to open up a Word document.
this guy.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, Twins,
Oh
worst
my
in the
God.
division
I don't
for me.
even...
Cleveland, next up. Cleveland's the
I
4th
don't
team in the
even know.
division. I see where DK is coming from, where the 2 through 4 is going to be game and a half, 2 games.
I don't even know what to think right now. Under 4
Greg's
ERA.
going to think what he's going to think anyway.
That's like me telling you Ted Lilly can win 20 games.
Ted Lilly could win 20 games.
After what,
'Cause he's
50, 60
awesome.
starts?
I'm sorry, DK.
Ted Lilly is a former Yankee.
DK, why would you bring that up to
Oh
yourself?
my gosh.
All right.
He's no longer a Dodger. I'm okay with this.
Indians in 4th. I think they'll be very close to the 2 or 3 spot. I think Greg said it. They kind of hit their peak last year with smoke and mirrors. I think is the correct
I think
term.
their hitting is really good, though.
I think they can hit. I think Asdrubal Cabrera is going to have a little bit of a bounce back
I just
here.
trust
Yeah.
Tito down the stretch of any...
That's true.
And
He's a good manager.
That was my point. If anyone's going to make a push out of the crop of 4 teams that aren't the Tigers, it's going to be the Indians because Terry Francona he knows how to do it. I mean, he's a terrific manager. I think the White Sox finished 3rd. I think
See, I don't get the White Sox love.
the back end of their rotation concerns me, but Chris Sale's pretty good. Jose Quintana's not bad. Eric Johnson is a guy who could be a number 2, or he could be a number 5 if he doesn't show up this year. Eric Johnson's
Is
a
it
question mark
Juan
for me.
Abreu or Jose Abreu?
Jose Abreu.
He has the potential. I mean,
He
I
could
don't,
hit 30
like I said,
home runs.
I don't know much
Yeah,
about the
Puig.
Rookie of the Year stuff, but like
He's a guy who could be there.
He has potential to be AL Rookie of the
Right.
Year because he has power, speed. You know, he
I
can
agree.
hit through the gaps.
I still don't think they'll be able to hit.
And if Jose Abreu struggles a little bit, they can platoon him. They got Canerco on the bench.
Yeah.
They got Adam Dunn DHing. Adam Dunn could play first base
You know
every
who the
now
real
and then.
key to that lineup is? Is can Alexei Casilla or
Alexei Ramirez.
Alexei Ramirez.
Alexi!
Casilla plays the Twins.
Oh,
Ramirez
jeez.
plays the White Sox.
Can
I always get it
Ramirez,
mixed up.
Can Ramirez
Can he swing the bat?
be the 280 hitter
Answer is
again?
no.
Yep.
Answer is no.
He could make some moves. I think a guy Alejandro De Aza, he could step up big
He's
time
going to need
this
to
year.
cut down those strikeouts,
strikeouts
and get
are
more
bad.
doubles and walks.
Another
Cut
guy.
down that terribleness.
Another guy, he played in Arizona, and he showed a lot of promise. Arizona just didn't have room for him, is Adam Eaton. He's going to be the White Sox leadoff guy. I think you give him enough at-bats, he could make a push for a
I also
265,
heard,
270 at batting
He's going to
average.
have the green light
Go green light for
every
sure.
time he gets on base.
Ventura's put him at the leadoff spot, which is where he needs to be, and he's
The whole
he's a
season
fast
he has
guy.
the green light.
And another guy, Avisail Garcia. People have compared his swing to Miguel Cabrera. They haven't compared him to Miguel Cabrera. They compared his swing to Miguel Cabrera. You watch him; he's got the same build, a good-looking swing. Garcia can make some moves.
Non-fat Miguel Cabrera.
Not he's got the
The
size.
Marlin-
He's pretty big.
The Marlins, Miguel Cabrera, or the Tigers?
Tigers, because he's put on some weight. But Adam Dunn, as horrible
He had a
as
home
he
run
is
today.
at strikeouts, he can still hit the ball really long ways when he gets a bat to it. Canerco
All right.
coming off the bench, if they platoon him and Abreu, I could see some
Look,
things
I
going
think-
on for the White Sox.
I think what we're pretty much all getting at for the last 4 teams that have, sans the Twins, we all think is going to be terrible.
Let me get to the Royals real quick,
Go
because
for
I
it,
know
go
what you're
for it.
going to say. I
Go
think the
for it.
Royals are good. I think Alex Gordon has a big year this year. I think Billy Butler's consistent. And like you said, I think Eric Hosmer, that's a guy
Yep.
a lot of people are looking at to make a jump this year. Lorenzo Cain, really, really good defensive player. And I'll get to James Shields later. But I think the back end of their rotation is the biggest question mark for me. You brought up some of the names. I don't even remember who they were. That should tell you just about everything.
Yeah.
But I think the Royals could make a push to be that second team. I think they could make a playoff push being the second team.
Right.
You already did yours for that. I think we're only going to have one playoff team out of the American League Central. But the Royals are the one team I could really, truly see making a push to the wild card.
I think that's what we've been all getting. Here's my take on the division.
Mm-hmm.
There's one good team, it's the Tigers.
One good team.
And for me, you think the White Sox can throw in there, but,
I think
White
so.
Sox, Indians, Royals are kind
Royals.
of all in that other mix. And we've all been kind of saying,
Twins are
if something can happen, if everything goes their way, then they can make a push.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that, you're right, none of them are good teams, and probably none of them are going to make the playoffs. But because they play in a poor division, if just one of those teams can be like the Indians last year,
It's true.
If just one of those teams can have everything clicking,
Then
then they can
they
beat
take
up on
over.
the other teams,
Yeah.
and then they get extra wins. unlike with the East, which we're going to get to. If
Yeah.
they have four good
That's a
teams.
good point on the
in
Indians, because they ended the year with 10 straight wins.
Exactly, because it's the division, and they can stockpile wins even though they're not as good a team. So
Yeah.
they're not good teams, but they could make a run. That's what I'm going to say.
So if one of them takes the jump, they can beat up on the rest. of them.
Exactly. That's exactly.
That's
Exactly.
pretty
You know
much
what?
what Cleveland did last year too. They
You
put
kind of
something together.
split. You kind of split your games. You
Yeah.
win as many as you can against Tigers.
Yeah.
And you just win the series against the other
Exactly.
teams. Yeah, for sure.
And a team that plays the Tigers really tough is Kansas City.
Right.
Anytime Kansas City and Detroit get
And
together, they
have
play
the-
each other real
They
tough.
have the advantage of having the most teams of any division, so
Yep.
you get more interdivisional games.
Yeah, you beat up on everyone. So we're going Tigers.
Tigers for me. Tigers, Royals, Indians. It's
twice.
close. And then I have the White Sox.
And the Twins
And
are
then I got
last.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
Twins
then,
suck.
and then I got Detroit,
The
Cleveland.
Twins are terrible.
Except for Phil Hughes.
I got Detroit, and then Cleveland White Sox, Royals, which are gonna be really close, and then
I
Twins just way down there.
There you go. And I should say, I'm not Sean. I haven't seen Phil Hughes pitch for what have you watched him for like 6 years?
I wanted Phil Hughes to be so good, and he showed so many games where it was
Him
like,
and
oh my
Jabba.
God.
Him and Jabba.
And Jabba was supposed to be the second coming,
So coming of who though?
and of anyone.
Anyway.
Clemens. He was actually compared to Clemens when he first came
Listen,
in.
Oh, God, that's
once he
right.
stepped on that trampoline, everything
Oh my
changed.
God! And I think he's in an Indian tribe or something like that.
Oh, really?
He's from Oklahoma. He's
Okay.
yeah, or Nebraska.
There you go.
I think Nebraska actually. But I have no faith in Phil Hughes. And this is coming from someone who used to have a ton of faith in Phil Hughes.
All I'm saying
Good
is
riddance to you, bud.
fly ball pitcher
Minnesota's
in a big park.
beat you up horribly. So the Twins are
And a
terrible.
good division. And a bad division. So
They're
that's fine.
horrible. So the Tigers are going to win the division.
Tigers going to win the
No,
division.
no second playoff team from the Central.
I don't think so.
no.
Yeah.
I
don't
So
think
that's
so.
all we're going to do about the Central. All right. So
Let's go to the AL East, guys. Sean?
love it.
Sean is a Yankee fan.
Yep.
For those who didn't know, judging by his attire. So anyways, the New
Once
York
again, go ahead,
Baseball
Greg.
Yankees.
You start. You
Yeah, go
start
ahead.
with your AL East here.
Take us wherever you want to go. I love
I think this is the best division in baseball for me.
Do you?
I do. I think the Rays,
That's an
Yankees,
NL
Red
West
Sox,
fan
Orioles.
saying that. I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
A's, Red. I mean, sorry,
You know-
A's. Go ahead, DK.
Looking at it, I probably would have to
Agree?
agree with that statement, just because the back end of each of the divisions, like the AL East, is a little
Even
better than the West.
even the
Yeah.
Blue Jays, who I don't think are very good, but because again another team, everything went wrong last year. They got a lot of talent, and I think this year could be a rebound. But I do think they're going to finish fifth.
Well, hold on. Going to your point that it's the best division in baseball. This is a big thing that when I look at best divisions, I said to you guys, I think the NFC East is the best division in football. Before last year, you guys kind of laughed at me.
I did laugh
It's
at
because
you.
part of
Still
the
laughing
reason
at you.
part of the reason I agree with you that the American League East is the best division in baseball. They play each other so tough. There's no easy matchup in
It's
that
true.
division. They all play each other really
Because
tough.
they're all good.
They're all good.
Agreed.
Go ahead. That's all I wanted
All
to
right,
say.
so I have the Rays winning the division.
Okay.
I think the Rays might be the best team in baseball.
Okay.
They have
What?
settle down.
That's a common belief.
Best
That
team
should-
SI
Wait,
picked it
in
too, which is not good
in
for me. But
baseball, like all of baseball, not just the American League, but
That's what I
all
said.
of baseball.
That's what I
SI has the Rays winning 95 games this year.
Yeah.
DK being first in the American League.
it's a great face.
I know.
So much depth, so much
We'll get to
talent,
us.
such a good farm system. David Price is a stud. Matt Moore, almost a stud.
No, he's a stud.
Okay, stud right now. Alex Cobb, before he got hit in the face last year,
On the cusp of
being a stud.
I mean,
Chris
they're looking at it
Archer,
or not, I don't
on
know.
the cusp of being a stud.
I think he got paid like a stud
He
today.
did
Jake
get paid like a
Odorizzi,
stud.
guy who was acquired in the Will Myers trade, the big haul they got in that one.
Yeah.
Another good pitcher. They have some good pitchers in the minor leagues. They're just so loaded.
They
Grant
got
Balfour's
Jeremy Hellickson.
Jeremy Hellickson's going to be there too.
And they got the ball for.
They got Grant Balfour.
Rage. Rage.
Balfour Rage.
hate
The
the A's.
bullpen's going to be good. I know the question with a lot of
God, I
people.
hate the A's.
A's fans.
I hate Oakland.
A's fans.
I hate Oakland. Everything about Oakland, I hate it. Other than Steph Curry, I hate Oakland.
I know a
we've
lot
had
of the
this
question
discussion
for a lot of
before.
people. The question for a lot of people is the lineup for the Rays.
Lineup, yeah.
But
Back
I
end of
think
the lineup,
Joe
especially.
Madden, again, like Bob Melvin, just squeezes every ounce of talent out of every player he gets. I think they're going to do some interesting things.
Joe Madden's better at it than Bob Melvin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, good.
And they have the best. Again, they use Splatoon so well. One of the best defensive teams in the league, maybe the best defensive team. Ryan Hannigan, a really underrated player. Right now, the
Oh, wow.
MLB depth chart has Jose Molina as a shortstop. Somebody made a mistake.
I would pay money to see Jose Molina try and play shortstop.
Escobar as the catcher.
Escobar as the catcher. But anyways, Ryan Hannigan is a really underrated defensive player.
That platoon, Hannigan and Molina.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
that's a good one. Sean
the
Ryan,
Reds are
they
gonna
just
be
mix
hurting
and
and have
match
to
so
lose
well.
Gannon.
They just squeeze everything out of their hitting. Will Myers, even some players that don't need to squeeze out production out of. Zobrist, Myers, and Longoria. That's a solid 3 hitters. You know what you're going to get out of those 3 hitters. And I think
Joyce.
Matt Joyce is
He can
another
hit some
good
home
underrated
runs.
player. I like the Rays. I just think they're one of the most complete clubs in baseball. I like the Rays. And then we'll talk about it more. We'll get to DK's pick in just a second, but just to finish it out. And I think
finish your
Yeah,
division.
do my
your
list?
division.
All right, I'll do the
Yeah.
list. I think here's going to be a shocker. My bold prediction, guys. I have the Rays, Yankees, Orioles,
Wow.
and then the Red Sox finishing 4th.
You got the Jays
And I
last.
have the Jays last. But I have the Red Sox
Red Sox
finishing
fourth.
4th. That's my bold prediction of
Okay.
the day, which hurts me because
Close?
I love everything that the Red
is
Sox
1 through
do.
4 going to be close?
Is it going to be a
Very
division?
close. Very close.
I would. Is 1 through 5 going to be close? Toronto's not going to
Yeah,
be.
You
I
know what?
agree.
I think 1 through 5 will be close.
Yeah.
But I think the difference between 4 and 5 will be greater, like big
Like
enough.
3 games.
Yeah, like 3 to 5 games.
3 to 5 games.
So basically big enough where you're like, okay,
All right.
they're not catching up.
I have the Jays last too. I'll get to that later.
All right,
You have the
DK,
Jays
go,
Jays
last.
go for
Jays
your
are gonna
order.
be
Order
last.
finish, DK.
All right, so I feel like 1 through 4 is going to be about 2.5, 3 games of each other. So this is just how I feel like it finishes out at the end of the year. I think Baltimore wins the division.
Whoa.
I think the acquisitions that they made, along with Buck Showalter, another year in his philosophy and system, is going to do wonders for the Matt Wieters and the carryovers from
JJ Hardy.
JJ Hardy and Tillman, all those guys. And I think they're ready for it. I think they're hungry for it. Not only do the fans want it and Buck Showalter wants it, I think their players want it now. Chris Davis had a taste of what it is to be a leader. I think he likes it.
Yep.
And it's just going to go a long way. And like you said, Jim Johnson did blow a lot of saves, and he's no longer there anymore. And so I mean that hopefully that fixes itself. And
Yeah.
the rotation, it'll need to be on the better side of their career averages. But I think that, like I said, they're ready to do this. The shocker for me is going to say I think Boston finishes 2nd. I think the Yankees finish 3rd. I think the Rays finish 4th.
Oh, wow. DK.
But I think
DK, what is going
the difference between Boston and the Yankees in 2nd and 3rd is going to be so
close.
minuscule.
Half a game,
So
one game.
Wow,
close.
DK, down on the Rays. Give us your reasoning on why you're down on the Rays, DK.
I'm not down on the Rays as I'm more up on the other 3 teams ahead of them. I think the Rays have a good year, but I don't think they win 95 games. I don't think they come close to 90. I think it's about more like 85,
Don't come close
83.
to... Oh, wow, you think they're going to be a 500 team?
Just above 500, and not because they're
Wow.
not good enough to win 95 games. I just don't think they're quite good enough to beat the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles in that 19-game unbalanced, interdivisional schedule. I think in the long term, the Tampa Bay Rays kind of digressed a little bit this year and maybe come back in full force next year and finish in the top 2 somewhere. But I think this year they kind of regress back to the back of the pack and they finish 4th.
All right. Sean?
I got the Orioles winning the division too.
Whoa. Oh. Hey-o.
Greg, their lineup, when healthy, it's true. We do have a mind like the Orioles lineup when
What
healthy.
did you just do?
Okay.
Glad I don't do a podcast with guys every week.
We're glad about that too. So
You
I
are
have,
sad. You cry in the corner. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I have the Orioles
Gosh,
winning.
DK unleashing.
I have the Orioles winning the division. I agree with everything they've said that the division's going to be absolutely close. I've been a firm believer the American League East is the best division in baseball for many, many years. I think the NL Central has always been good, except for the bottom half, the Cubs and the Brewers. The Brewers just recently being terrible. But the NL West, I used to think the NL West was the worst division in baseball, and now it's gotten up there. But we'll get to those. I think the American League is the best division in baseball. It's because of what I said earlier. They play each other so tough, and there's no easy trip. When Tampa Bay goes to Toronto, it's not an easy trip. When Boston goes to Baltimore, it's not an easy trip. When the Yankees go to Tampa Bay, it's not an easy trip. Anytime these divisional teams,
to Toronto, it's not easy.
it's not easy. It's not easy to go up to Canada. I think the Orioles are. I don't want to say the best team in the division because I think they're all pretty even. I mean, there are a lot of good teams in this division. I also think Toronto's a good team in this division. I just think they're going to finish last place because it's such a tough division.
And I feel like they all have the perfect managers for their teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think so. I've never been
I'm pretty sure some Yankee fans would rather have Buck on the other side of the.
Yeah, I've never
field.
been a huge Buck Showalter fan going to Baltimore.
Huge Buck fan.
Going to Baltimore.
Going to Baltimore.
Yeah, I just didn't like the fact I wanted him out of the division. I think Baltimore is really good. Markakis, Machado, Adam Jones, Chris Davis, Nelly Cruz, Matt Wieters, J.J. Hardy. All that lineup. There's not an easy out there.
Okay, I agree. There's not an easy out, which is why I picked third.
Delman Young's
For
pretty
me,
good too.
And Delman Young.
Okay, all right. Settled. Okay.
Greg, do you see the logo? Do you see the logo on my chest right? It's a Yankee. Delman Young is one of the biggest Yankee killers I've ever seen in my life. Take a break. Take a break. Orioles are going to win the division. I think it's going to be real close.
Oh my God.
I think what Greg was about to say is it's their pitching staff that's going to get to them.
Oh no, that's what actually. What I was going to say is that.
Ubaldo Jimenez side with them.
Ubaldo.
I do think that their pitching staff is going to be good, not great, because I think they don't have necessarily an ace in there, but I think they have 5 competent pitchers, and Chris Tillman has a lot of potential. Wei-Yin Chen's very underrated pitcher.
Wei-Yin Chen's an extremely underrated pitcher.
Wei-Yin Chen's good. Miguel Gonzalez put together a string of good starts last season. Bud Norris, I know we talked about, he's not an ace, but
he's your 5th starter.
That's a good 5th starter.
It's going to more come down to Tommy Hunter.
Tommy Hunter
closed the door.
Yeah.
And Ubaldo Jimenez was Ubaldo Jimenez at the second half of last season. For me,
change scenery.
Delman Young is terrible. Let's all get that clear.
And what?
He is a negative player for me. I think by putting him in your lineup, if he's is he DHing? He's DHing, so it's not as bad.
You know what? I would even go venture to say he's a 5-tool player. Maybe not the top level 5-tool, but he has
5-tool.
4.5.
He's not
What are the 5 tools?
Well,
the 5 tools are eating,
he used to be 5
sleeping,
tools.
and
He used to be
hitting umpires.
Crushing.
Then he's got 3 of the tools.
Crushing huge home runs in the playoffs, hitting huge doubles in the playoffs.
That's fine. You can have your timely hits in the playoffs, but
that's all they need.
No,
they
need to get there first.
They don't need him to be a model citizen, Greg. They need him to be a good
awful
hitter.
player. He is so bad.
Well, he's DHing.
He's been one of the worst.
Play the field.
That is good. That's very good that he doesn't have to play the field. But he is just an atrocity. Never mind his off-the-field problems.
For a number 7 hitter,
no,
that's pretty good to have Delman Young as your number 7 hitter.
No, he's awful. And I think that listen, I think their lineup can hit. My only concern is that they don't get on base enough. We well documented that I'm a stats guy, and you guys are not as much.
You're not a stats guy. You're a stats geek.
Stats geek.
Well, here's the thing, though. The lineup isn't even really that lineup right now.
Adam Jones is good.
Machado's hurt.
Because Machado's coming back.
Machado's hurt. That's another good point.
Somewhere in the first couple months this season.
I heard a month.
But Nelson Cruz, I think, is to me, he's overrated. And he's their 5th place hitter right now.
Here's the thing, though.
He
is overrated, but...
Have you watched baseball in the last 3 years? Nelly Cruz overrated.
Definitely overrated.
I would say that I would agree that he is somewhat overrated, but like every other player that wants to prove himself...
Adding another one to the list, guys.
A change of scenery does wonders for your game.
Yep.
So he's going to probably take more walks and hit more doubles and concede a lot of those I could have hit a home run but flew out at-bats to actually improve his stats so that he can get a huge contract at the end of the year.
And he's already played 2 games in Camden Yards at the time we're filming this. He has 2 home runs.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great. That's great.
And he's not on roids anymore.
That's true, too.
Well, not on the ones you can detect anyway.
All right. That's it on Baltimore. I think Baltimore's really good. Can we all agree that they have a chance of winning the division?
Yeah. Yes.
I think all these teams have a chance of winning the division.
I think that, but look,
I'm on me now.
Sorry.
You said what you thought. Second in the division is the Yankees. And I think it's going to be very close with this tier of teams. I think the Yankees are going to be second. I'll come back to the Yankees and talk about them last. I think the Red Sox are third. And I think the Rays are fourth. I'm with DK. It's not that I'm down on the Rays as much as I think that the other teams are going to be really good and it's going to be a slugfest. I don't know. I don't trust Tampa Bay as much as everyone seems to be right now. Picking them to win the American League is at 95. I think that's nuts. Longoria is Longoria. We cannot talk about the American League East without talking about how good Evan Longoria is. Yeah. Somehow he's still underrated. Somehow.
What a dirtbag.
Yeah. Not a big fan of him, but he's a really good baseball player.
No, you don't get the joke. He's from Long Beach State. They're the
Oh, did he
dirtbags.
play at Long Beach State?
Yeah.
No clue.
He
He's.
played with Tulo, right? I think.
Oh wow.
I think they're still friends too.
That must have been an insane lineup.
Tulo.
He's a dirtbag. That is true.
We'll get to Tulo in a bit. I'm not as down on the Rays as everyone else is. I think their pitching staff is really good, but I think David Price is on his way out. At some point, I think during
He's
the
definitely
season,
on his
gonna
way
get
out,
pitched.
but I don't think he's going to get traded mid-season when they're making a planet push.
And I have a feeling
All right.
he's going to want out,
All
and
right.
he's going to get traded. So the Rays are 4th for me. The Jays are 5th. Look, Jose Bautista, when he's healthy, is a monster.
He hit a home run today.
He did, but he's never healthy. I texted my cousin. I'm in a
Like Jose Reyes.
like Jose. I'm in a fantasy baseball league with my cousin, and he tried to trade me Jose Bautista like 2 weeks into the season. I said, yeah, I'll take him as long as you take him, middle of June when he goes on the disabled list for 60 days.
When he swings the bat,
When he
literally.
he gets hurt. He gets too hurt for me to say that he
Walking
can
from the
carry it.
dugout.
Yeah.
Edwin Encarnacion has come out of nowhere, and he's become a.
How old is Edwin Encarnacion?
He
Is he
seems like he's 50. I feel like he's been around forever.
Oh my gosh!
But
I
he's
know,
a
me
solid
too.
second go-to guy. But with Jose Reyes and the injury problems and
He's
Colby,
already in the DL, by the way.
Colby
Jose
Rasmus
Reyes.
not being.
How do I know? I have him on 2 of my fantasy teams.
That's
Guys, I have an amendment I'm going to make.
Oh, God, what's
Actually,
your
I'm going to switch the Red Sox and the Orioles to 3 and 4, which matters to nobody. But just let that be on the record. Red Sox 3rd and Orioles 4th. Go ahead, Sean.
So I think the Jays are going to be 5th, but I think they'll be pretty close. Like injuries are going to hurt them. Their pitching staff's not that good. Ricky Romero was supposed to be their ace like a year ago. He's nowhere to be found right now. They've got some pitching problems in Toronto. Josh Johnson, a guy they went out and got and expected a lot out of. He's nowhere to be found.
They could still get a lot out of him.
And I don't know if it's coming back.
He was expected to be a Cy Young.
You know why he's nowhere to be found? Because he's in San Diego.
There you go. He's
Really?
not even there anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Is Mark Burley still in Toronto? I
Yes,
think Mark
he
Burley's
pitched
still
today.
there.
He pitched
Yeah.
today.
Not as
He's
pit
their
bulls,
ace.
though.
So
Not
I'm
as
not-
pit bulls.
Just like the White Sox, he's their ace.
I'm not high on Toronto at all, but I think they'll be in the mix.
All right, but let's get to what everybody wants to talk about.
I have to touch on Boston real
Okay,
quick.
touch
I have
on
to touch on
Boston.
Boston. Losing Jacoby Ellsbury was a big deal. And Boston fans probably aren't very happy with him going to New York, but that's a big deal. It's a big loss. But it opened a humongous door for a guy named Jackie Bradley Jr. He's going to platoon with a guy named Grady Sizemore, who anyone who has followed Cleveland sports...
They will make up for the loss of Jacoby Ellsbury.
Them platooning together will make up for the loss of Jacoby Ellsbury.
I have a thought on that.
Yeah.
I agree, because
Yeah.
not only Jackie Bradley Jr., one of the best prospects in the game, but
He's great
Grady
prospect.
Sizemore, who is everybody knows, you know the story. Once one of the best young players in the
He
game
was
got
amazing.
hurt
He was amazing.
and hasn't played, I think, since 2011.
Yeah, about 3 years.
Just
two
hit a home
years.
run the other day.
He played like
Yeah.
50 games.
He went
But
2 for 4.
Jonah Carey had a really good article about this on Grantline, how the Red Sox
Yep.
do a great job. Their training staff is one of the
Yeah.
best in the game of healing players, specifically David
I'm just
Ortiz,
kidding,
who was
Ortiz.
basically done a few years ago.
They just keep injecting him with stuff, and somehow no one notices.
Is it the Barry Bonds cream? I don't know.
It might
Okay, what the heck? Why is that? Why do we even need to go there? What?
be. No one likes
What
Barry
about
Bonds.
Manny Ramirez? Huh? Manny Ramirez is like
Sure, I admit it.
feminizing.
I admit it. But you know what the difference between me and you is? I own that stuff, man.
Yep.
I own it.
He was never proven.
Steroid
He's
user.
never
man.
tested wrong. He's never tested positive.
I was kidding. David Ortiz is not on steroids. He's one of the best hitters of his generation, and one of the most clutch players I think I've ever seen in my life. I respect him more than anything.
Oh,
but
no.
no, he's not on steroids. And what Greg said, the platoon of Sizemore and Jackie Bradley Jr., they have a great training staff. But Sizemore's going to be really good this year. Daniel Nava was really good. I mean, they're the defending champs.
What one lacks, the other one pretty much
Yep,
has. you
they'll,
know, so.
they'll make up for it. And Pedroia cannot be counted out, even though as
And what
many
a great
times as I wanted
defensive
to count him out.
replacement. Grady Sizemore can be in the 8th inning or something. You're like, what?
Yeah,
I think if it was in the 8th, I think Jackie Bradley Jr. is a really good fielder.
Either one.
Yeah, either one.
Well,
Either
I'm
one.
just saying,
Good point.
like,
Good point. No,
back
good
and
point.
forth. You
And
don't lose much.
I think the addition of AJ Pierzynski is going to help them.
Yes.
He's gonna add some stability to the catcher position. They lost Saltalamacchia. They were playing David Ross sometimes. I'm sure he'll get a couple of starts. But
I'm just gonna wonder how many Yankee Red Sox games before you vehemently hate AJ Pierzynski with all.
I
of your
already
pure
hate
heart.
AJ Pierzynski.
Oh, okay.
I already
Cool.
hate AJ.
Everybody
Pierzynski.
hates
Everyone.
AJ.
Everyone.
I think AJ Pierzynski hates
Hey,
AJ
not,
Pierzynski.
not in the National League.
Not in
we
the-
don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a Dodger at one point. Oh no, that's Mankiewicz. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm not a. All right.
Everybody in the National League hates him. Yes,
Really?
the Giants hate him.
I'm not a big fan of Adrian Brzezinski, but I think he'll be good for the Red Sox.
You need Stan Conti, the trainer, in the groin.
That's what trainers get. Train this, boom. No,
You know what? I won't hate you, AJ, until you do something dirty against the Dodgers.
that's not gonna happen. No. All right, so that's my talk on the Red Sox. I think they're going to be fine. Their pitching staff, if Clay Buchholz is healthy, I think Felix Subban is a really good number 4 starter.
13 wins.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. They still have Jake Peavy. People
12
forget
wins, 10
people
wins.
forget about Jake Peavy. He's a good starter. And John Lester's an ace.
Yep.
You know what? If you can beat lymphoma, you can beat just about anything. And John Lester did, so he can beat just about anything.
All right, so you ready, Sean?
We can do it. Let's do it. You guys take me wherever you want to
okay.
go on this.
We're going New York Yankees,
and
last
then I'll
American
take you
League
wherever I
team.
want to go.
New York Yankees. For me, I picked them to finish second, just behind the Rays, but I think it's going to be very close. The question for a lot of people is the fragility of the team because they're so old.
Yeah.
They're really old. Carlos Beltran, Soriano, Brian Roberts, Derek Jeter.
Ellsbury's 30 years old.
Yeah, that's shocking to me.
They're not
shocking.
Young. Ellsbury's been around a while.
Yeah,
he came in like 06.
But, and obviously, health. You said it, Sean. You're obviously you're a Yankee fan, but Pineda coming back this year.
What has he got?
Listen, that's why the upside of the rotation is as good as it gets.
Yeah, as up as you can get.
Because Sabathia, we know what he can do. He struggled his first start.
Yeah.
Kuroda had been great for the Yankees.
He's like an
Ivan
ageless
Nova, I
wonder.
think, could have a
I
really
wish
good
he was still a
breakout season.
Dodger.
Masahiro Tanaka, obviously, and Pineda.
You said his name wrong. It's not Masahiro. It's Money Hero Tanaka.
Thank you.
He makes quite a bit of money. He's never
Ching,
even
He could.
pitched a pitch and then made Major League Baseball.
And I think they're hitting. Listen, I know it's tough to bet on health, but if this team can stay relatively healthy and relatively intact, they're going to hit.
Good luck.
They're going to hit. Ellsbury, Jeter, Beltran, McCann, Teixeira, Soriano, Gart. That's a lot of depth in that lineup. Kelly Johnson as a 9-hitter, do a whole lot worse than that.
He's probably one of the better 9-hitters you'll find in the game.
But going into the season with Brian Roberts as your starting second baseman is a little bit of a concern because he's probably going to play 5 games this year.
Do you remember when he was healthy, though? In
25
Baltimore?
It seems like the man has been.
Bases,
I remember playing as him in like MVP Baseball 2004, stuff like that.
He
potential
used to be really good.
Gold Glove second baseman potential.
Yeah,
But
he's good.
Which is why I think, and I'm betting on everything going right. But if everything goes right, this team might be the best team in baseball. But Sean, go for it.
DK, what do you
Well, I
think?
was going to say, like I said in my predictions, I think Boston finishes second.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the second wild card, and the Yankees finish third. Just like I said, so close. It comes down to maybe the last couple of series.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, like the Rays, like I don't know. It's not that I'm down on the Yankees per se. It's just I don't think they're going to stay healthy for long enough stretches of the season to make that push big enough
That's a good point.
to overcome the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
But if they did, I wouldn't be surprised. And if they did, they're going to be the wild. I feel like they're going to be 2 teams from the AL East and 2 teams from the AL West.
All right.
And you tell me who it's going to be between the Oakland Angels and Texas, and you can tell me who it's going to be basically between Baltimore, Boston, New York. But 4 of those 6 teams are coming out of the out into the playoffs, and it's all going to determine. I mean, for the Yankees, I really think, as much as you talk about the age of the hitting and the pitching can do this and that, it's going to come down to David Robertson and that bullpen. For the first time in so long, I feel like the real question is the bullpen. Because they don't have that big, huge eraser coming out to, what was it, Enter Sandman?
Enter Sandman.
You don't have the big eraser coming out anymore.
I do think that, obviously, Mariano Rivera's best closer ever, but I do think
Say that to the camera so they can see your face.
Mariano Rivera's the best closer ever.
There you
I
go.
don't think I wasn't going out on a limb or anything.
You say a lot of mean things.
Not like I'm going to say Brian Wilson was the best closer ever.
On the
Sergio
DL.
Elbow too. So, anyways, but I do
I
think
blame the Padres.
I think that David Robertson is a very good pitcher, and I don't think they're not gonna miss as many steps as some people think. Losing Rivera.
You can say that he's a good pitcher, and he can definitely fill the role. But
I think
the mentality of you as a setup man with Mariano Rivera behind you is way different than you're the last guy in the bullpen.
I don't really
you're the guy they're going to call.
buy into the whole mindset thing, but
you're following the
We just
legend,
don't.
and you're not going to
I
believe in
view
the
they're going
mindset
to be
thing.
pressured. But I think I think that just entering major leagues as a whole is a weeding out process.
How long has David
Robertson
Robertson been in the major leagues?
5 years.
Has he? What has been his role for 5 years?
It was the closer a few years ago when Rivera got hurt.
David Robertson?
I'm sorry, Rafael Soriano. I'm sorry.
Robertson was his.
Robert said was going to be the closer.
So he was basically he's been a setup man for 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a 6th and 7th inning guy early on, but he's been the setup man for about 3 years now.
Sean, you've heard our opinions.
Yeah,
go for it.
Everyone, shut up. I really like the additions the Yankees made this offseason. There is one athlete who I dislike more than Jacoby Ellsbury, and his name is Tyler Hansbrough, and I have a huge reason to hate Tyler Hansbrough. And a very close third, Deshaun Jackson, who's a very wealthy man.
Go Bears.
So
I'm neither here nor there on that.
I've never liked Jacoby Ellsbury. It's a lot of things that are very irrational, but the fact that
before you continue, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you like me in that you may sign with the Yankees, but technically you aren't a Yankee until you prove to be a Yankee?
Oh, yeah.
Whereas me is like, Dodger.
Yeah, I'm a Yankee fan, of course I believe that.
Especially when it comes to, say, Giants coming to Dodgers or opposite way, or like Yankees, Red Sox kind of deal.
Like Johnny Damon's a Yankee, because he became a Yankee.
He became a Yankee.
But when he first came, I was like,
who are
what
you?
is this?
Yeah.
I feel the same way about
Just
Ellsbury,
making
but
sure.
I didn't hate Johnny Damon as much as I hated
that's shocking.
Jacoby Ellsbury. Oh, no, I respected Johnny Damon. Whatever, it's a different conversation. I hated Jacoby Ellsbury because he wore number 2 for the Boston Red Sox. That was a huge reason. The Boston Red Sox should retire that
Derek
number.
Jeter didn't play for the Red Sox.
I don't care.
Okay.
Jeter's the man.
You think number 2 should be retired in all of baseball? Oh, good. He didn't break the color barrier.
It's Derek Jeter. No, it's actually funny because you look at most of the players who wear number 2 and they play shortstop in major leagues.
Because of Derek Jeter.
And you ask most of them, they're like, it's an homage to Jeter.
It's like, do you think everybody 23 should be retired in basketball?
No. I'm kidding. Number 2 is not going to be retired. It's going to be retired in pinstripes and no one's going to wear it.
Sean, you have very outrageous opinions sometimes. I'm just checking. Go for it. Sorry, I stepped on your foot. Go
It's
for
for
it.
the entertainment, Craig, and just to piss you off sometimes.
I know.
I like the additions the Yankees made. The day they signed Brian McCann was the day I knew that they would contend for at least the playoff spot because the catcher position...
A lot better than Chris Stewart.
The catcher position was just so bad since Jorge left us. It was just bad.
The Magic Man.
It was bad. So we have stability at the catching position now, which is good. We have Cervelli sitting in the backup position. He can come in any day.
He's a very serviceable backup.
Serviceable backup. A long-time vet, too. But the health. Health is the biggest issue with the Yankees.
It's so weird to think that Cervelli is a long-time vet now.
He's been around a while. I think Mark Teixeira is going to have a bounce-back year if he stays healthy, of course. His wrist is giving him problems. Hitting from the right side is going to be easier for him than hitting with the left side. It's his right wrist. You use your power when you're left-handed. You use your power here. When you're a right-hander. So I think he'll be okay. He's a switch hitter. He can pull it off. I love Alfonso Soriano. The day they traded him away for Alex Rodriguez was a very sad day because I didn't like Era at the time, and I love Soriano. He was a terrific Yankee. So glad he's back. At the end of last year, if you look at from the day Soriano put the pinstripes back on and you look at the rest of the league, Soriano was in the MVP discussion. If you started MVP, you look at the numbers, Greg. He had 18 home runs, like 50 RBIs, and he was hitting 280. Do you watch baseball at all? Alfonso Soriano was a monster at the end of last year.
He was a monster, but
he was an MVP candidate.
Go for it.
Soriano's a great pickup. He's going to be DHing.
He did go out of his mind the last.
He was amazing.
Whatever.
He'll play some left field. He'll play some DH. This is the strength of the Yankees this year is outfield, and that was a huge question mark the last couple of years. Beltran's going to hold down the fort in right field. Brett Gardner and Jacoby Ellsbury are going to take turns playing center field. Gardner will be left fielder a lot of the time. And Ichiro's our 5th outfielder. One of the best.
You guys still have Ichiro.
One of the best hitters in the history of baseball.
Anymore. Not very good anymore.
Ichiro's our fifth outfielder.
What?
He's going to platoon. He'll play every now and then.
Oh my gosh, he's good for a 5th outfielder.
That's
right?
a great situation.
He's lost a few steps.
Jeter, look, I will believe in Jeter until the day he dies, and even then, I'll still believe Derek Jeter can come out and wear number 2 and play shortstop for the New York Yankees. I think a big part of this team is going to be the second base, third base positions. If Kelly Johnson can hold down the fort at either one of those positions, he can play second base as well. They're trying him at third base, see how that plays.
I think ideally you'd want Kelly Johnson to work out at third, so that Roberts can.
Brian Roberts can play second base. That's why they're doing it, so they can get Brian Roberts to work. I think the Yankees are going to be very good this year. This is a kind of an outlandish statement, but do you know what position Alfonso Soriano came up in the Yankee organization as?
Yes.
Second base.
Second
A second baseman.
He's not going back to second.
Maybe. If things go, Greg, go so poorly with
won't be
Brian
good.
Roberts,
That would not be good.
it's not the ideal situation, but if he's
He
willing,
is athletic enough.
if he's willing, he could play second. Jeter always used to say he loved playing with Soriano on second base, so we'll see. The pitching staff, I think, is going to be reformed this year. It's been a real weakness, 4
Do you
or
think
5
at the
years
end
ago.
of the year, Tanaka establishes himself as number 2, like a clear-cut number 2?
No,
or is he just staying
he'll
at 3?
he'll be the number 3. The first playoff
No,
game.
I'm not saying like rotation-wise they move him, but I mean like the stuff-wise. By the end of the year, do you think that everyone's going to realize that he's not really a number 3?
I don't even think it matters. I think they realize right now he's got the stuff to be a number 1 or a number 2.
Okay.
I think he'll be good enough. I have the Yankees make the playoffs, of course, but in our first playoff game, Sabathia is not getting the ball. It's Kuroda. Kuroda's our ace,
I would
and
agree.
the sooner the Yankees realize that Kuroda's the ace of the staff,
He's the best pitcher by far for
the
them
better.
last year.
And
Like I said, I wish he was still a Dodger.
it's a Dodger fan saying that. I think Kuroda's the ace of the staff. I think CC
Got
throws
enough
game
pitching
2.
in that.
No, and he can never have enough pitching.
I think Ivan Nova is going to surprise
Could
a
take the
lot
next
of
step.
people this
Could
year.
take the next step.
He
13
looked like he was
innings.
going to take the next step. Last year, he had a couple of great games, good strikeout
He just
pitcher.
needs to mentally be able to prepare himself for that 7th inning.
He needs to eliminate the really horrible starts. If he can stay even keel, I don't need the spectacular, but I really don't need the horrible. If he can stay even keel, he'll be solid. CC, look, he got roughed up in his first start. CC's a workhorse. He's going to be in there. He's going to give you a bunch of innings. Still a great strikeout pitcher. I mean, he's. I think I saw on the broadcast last night. He's about to pass Sandy Koufax on the strikeout list. That's not a bad name
That's
to
pretty
pass on the
impressive,
strikeout
yeah.
list.
Sandy's good.
Sandy had a pretty good career. So I believe in the Yankees this year.
Does
I have
that
them.
depth chart have Ivan Nova as their third starter?
He's the third starter. Tanaka's the 4 right now, and Pineda.
I think when you look at rotations, I think you should maybe look, because a lot of times they organize it in
They're
a certain
basically
way.
just pushing the best 5 starters out there in whatever order.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Pineda, if we can get anything out of Pineda, anything what he used to be in Seattle, we traded Jesus Montero away, and since that trade, neither one of them has done well. Montero got hurt, and
For different reasons.
Even when he was playing, he wasn't playing very well. But I was a big opponent of that trade. I didn't like it at all. I wanted Montero to be the catcher of the future. Look,
He's not even going to be a catcher now.
he's not even going to be. He hardly even plays. If Pineda can give us anything, then that's a
steroids.
great trade. And here's the most
Not
underrated
everyone
part.
succeeds on steroids.
Not everyone does. Here's the most underrated part of the New York Yankees' additions and losses this season. They had a lot. They spent almost $500 million on players this year. Okay, they did real well in the offseason. But a guy they lost in the offseason coming out of the bullpen, it's going to be a big loss. And they got Matt Thorne to try and cover up.
Phil Koch.
Do you know who the most used reliever was in Major League Baseball, innings-wise, last year? Innings-wise and appearances, actually.
Let's start with.
It was Boone Logan.
Oh, wow.
Boone,
You know what? I did hear his
We
name a
used
lot.
Boone Logan almost every day, and he was stellar.
Where'd he go?
I think he's in Colorado now, I believe. I think it's
Oh.
it's in the NL West. I think it's Colorado.
So in like
They're-
6 months, you'll just trade for him again when the Rockies are back.
He's on the Dodgers.
They're going to miss.
Oh, he's on the Rockies, yeah.
They're going to miss Boone Logan, and I'm going to miss Boone Logan because he was a great reliever. I believe in David Robertson. I know a lot of my Yankee brethren. I have a ton of friends and family that are Yankee fans. They don't believe in David Robertson as a closer. I think he's good enough to do it. He's the best setup man in baseball. It's safe to say that. He was brilliant as a
And
setup
Mariano
man.
Rivera started off as setup man
And
for John Wetland.
John
so-
Wetland. I think Robertson will do just fine. I think the Yankees will be okay. Look, if they don't get healthy, it's going to look a lot like last year, and somebody's going to have to step up. And I don't know if that's going to happen. But if they, like you said, if they stay healthy, this offense is going to be really good. And if their pitching staff can take a jump a little bit, if Pineda and Nova give them something, Yankees are going to be pretty good. So I have them in the playoffs.
All right.
So playoff picture for the American League.
For me, I have the to recap,
We all have the Tigers in the Central.
Tigers in the
no
Central.
no one else coming out of the Central.
Yeah, no one else coming out.
Okay.
So for the American League, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I have the A's winning the West. I have the Tigers winning the Central, and I have the Rays winning the East.
You get
And in terms of wild card this
2
year,
wild cards.
it's going to be tough. I'm going with the Red Sox and the Yankees going for the
Sox,
wild
Yankees.
card.
All right.
So you're going from three teams from the AL East coming out.
Yep.
Okay. So
Which
I
probably
got,
going to be wrong because they're all going to beat up
I
on
got
each other.
Baltimore winning the East. I got Detroit winning the Central. I got Oakland winning the West. And then I got Boston coming out of the East as a wild card, and as well as the Angels out of the West.
You got the Yankees missing the playoffs?
I do, like I said, I feel like the Red Sox, Yankees, whoever doesn't finish second
Yeah.
is going to miss the playoffs.
All right, and I got the Tigers in the Central.
And by the way, the wild card race, I feel like that's another thing that's going to be like 1.5.
That's gonna be
one,
crazy.
Like just,
It's gonna be
it's going to be a
nuts.
crazy down to the last game kind
But
of
it's
crazy.
going to be West versus East. The Central's
and,
not really going
and
to
what's dirty is going to be it's going to be like with every win and loss, it's going to be like, oops, you lost ground in your own division
So now
and
you're
in the wild
second
card.
division, but top in the wild card.
Yeah, it's going to be
crazy.
crazy from week to week.
All right, so
That's how have it.
I got Tigers in the Central. I got Rangers out west. I got the Orioles winning the East, and I got the Sox and the Yankees coming out of the East. I got 3 teams out of the East as well.
So now, who's your AL champion?
AL champion? For me,
Who's going to the series? Who's going to win the series?
start with Sean.
I got Yankees Orioles in the American League Championship Series.
Wow.
I don't know how the matchups will work about that, but I think that could be a really good American League Championship Series, and I got the Yankees going to the World Series. I think they can make a run. You get up to October, that pitching staff can hang around, and if they get a couple of bats going in Yankee Stadium, lefties, you get them going a little bit. I got the Yanks in the World Series.
I have a Oakland and Boston ALCS.
Oh,
and,
shoot me now. Oh, my
I
God.
I have Oakland
Oh,
going to the series.
that's the
Oakland going to the series. All right.
That's literally that's my worst nightmare to see that series happen. Those are the 2 teams I hate the most out of the American League. I hope to God that does not happen.
I've got a.
That'll be the dirtiest American League Championship Series with the beards. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm pretty tempted right now to pick the Yankees.
Have
'cause I'm
you
just
seen
saying,
Jason
everything.
Josh Jaso, whatever it is.
John Jason.
John
His
Jason.
beard behind the piss.
Yeah.
Have you seen Derek Norris? It's even worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's even
worse.
worse.
Ugh.
But just looking at I'm so tempted to pick them because if everything goes right, like if this was their lineup for the entire
That's their
season,
October lineup.
for the entire season,
That's
especially,
tough.
and I'm just thinking about that pitching staff. If Sabathia can just be himself, Kuroda did what he did last year, and
And Tanaka gives us
Tanaka
6
does
innings
something.
and 10 Ks in a
Pineda
playoff game.
can be good.
Nova.
I think it's going to be Rays
Rays Yankees. Okay.
Or, actually, that can't happen because if they're the wild card team. Well, anyways, I think
We get
Rays
th-
Yankees
we
are the
get
2
3
best
wild
teams in
card.
the country.
We
Right.
get 3 wild card teams.
2 wild cards.
Two.
Or three from the East.
2 wild card
3
teams.
from the East.
Oh, right. No,
I
that
think
can't.
it
That
can
can't
happen.
happen. Okay,
It
that
can
can't happen.
technically happen.
But that's not important because it's not going to happen like
Yeah.
that. Yankees. I like Yankees Rays in the championship
series?
series, and I'm going to go with the Yankees.
Yankees.
Sorry about that, Sean.
No, sorry.
So-
I
so
think
we
that's
got-
a good pick. I mean,
So
that's good.
we got 2 people picking the Yankees to go to the series. The Yankee fan and the Giants fan.
Yep.
And then the Dodger fan here, we got the A's going to the series.
Ugh.
So, 2 Yankees going to the World Series. DK, who you have?
I have the A's.
The A's. All right. As long as the Yankees can get there, I think they're going to be good.
I hate Oakland.
I know you do.
Well, that does it for our American League preview.
What do you guys think? You want to go another round?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
What do you mean go to another round?
Okay.
Just
National League?
You gotta,
We ain't stopping
you gotta
here.
complete
Oh,
it.
hold on.
National League.
Before we end the American League.
MVP Cy Young Manager of the Year.
Oh, okay.
I'll
All
We're
right.
starting with you. We'll start with Manager of the Year.
Manager of the year?
Yeah, you give us our manager. You give me, and we'll go.
Manager of the year.
around.
I wasn't prepared for this manager of the year.
I'll start.
Basically,
Okay, you
yeah.
start.
Okay, we both have ours.
I'm just gonna pick Joe Madden.
I think
Joe Madden?
Okay. I was gonna say along that lines, I picked Buck Showalter because I feel like he wins the East, and that holds a lot of weight because the Orioles haven't won the East in a while, and I think he wins it.
I picked one guy, and for these, I'll give you like 2 or 3 that have a realistic shot. Ned Yost,
Oh,
Kansas
he's
City
awful.
Royals. If the Royals
Depending on
make
where
a
they finish.
jump,
Right.
Depending on
if
where they
they,
finish.
He's
if
gonna
they-
get credit for
they
it.
get the play, he's gonna get
Like,
all the
like,
credit.
If he misses out barely on the wild
Yup,
card. or something.
he's gonna get all the
He's a
credit.
terrible manager.
Ned Yost has a chance. Robin Ventura also has a chance if the White Sox do something
I don't think
huge.
they're gonna- yeah.
I don't think they are either, but if they did, he has a chance. And then,
I feel
of
like
course,
that's like all the managers in the NL.
no,
AL Central,
exactly,
though.
AL Central.
Tito, if they win the AL Central, could win it. Like,
And if
but he has to win the AL
he
Central
has to win
win
the
it.
AL. If DK and I are right, if the Orioles win the American League East, Buck Showalter's winning AL Manager of the Year.
Alrighty.
But I think Ned Yost is my preseason pick, but Showalter could very easily do it. All right, so who's yours? You said
I
Joe
said Joe
Madden.
Madden.
Joe Madden.
It's always the
Buck
same
Buck
shot.
Showalter, Ned Yost.
Ned
Okay.
Yost, yeah.
Cy Young. Who's your Cy?
Alrighty. Cy Young. Here we go.
Who's your side?
I
You
thought-
already have it down.
I thought
Chris Sale
Chris
from,
Sale.
from the White Sox. I
All
think
right.
Chris Sale wins 22 games this year to just, he does his thing and the White Sox,
Yeah.
don't make the playoffs, but I think he wins the Cy Young.
I think it'll also help him if the White Sox are terrible, and if he has that
Oh, yeah.
winning record,
Like
it'll just be
22
like,
and
oh,
5
he's the
or
bright
something,
spot.
22 and 10.
I can see that too. Are you ready?
no,
Alan?
no.
James Shields.
All right.
Ooh,
James Shields is a Cy Young guy.
He's always a potential Cy Young
I
guy.
see that a lot about the Chris Sale thing I just said. Even if the team goes south, James Shields is going to have a lot of
If
really
he can
good
go
starts.
17-5 or 6,
And
whatever.
I think he's going to have 18
a
wins
low
at least.
3 ERA.
James Shields, my preseason pick. Three other guys that I think could win. Chris Sale was another one of my picks.
Yeah.
I kind of teetered back and forth. John Lester.
Oh wow! I was gonna say my one other guy was John
Lester's
Lester.
an ace. He'll be around. Boston's going to win him a lot of games. John Lester. The other one, if my picks hold true, Jared Weaver.
That's another one I was thinking
Jared
about
Weaver
too.
has a chance if he stays healthy.
Depending on what the Angels
All right.
do when
He's got the stuff to do it. Jared Weaver, I think, is one of them. But my preseason pick, James Shields, the
Yeah.
Royals. Who's yours?
For me, I know he's hurt right now, so if he was, this is a risk.
Yeah.
But I'm picking you, Darvish.
Yu Darvish, yeah.
You know what? I almost feel like you had to pick you, Darvish, after starting off this podcast with just like so backing.
I have a lot of, Yu Darvish is the best pitcher in the American League when he's healthy. He struck out 20 batters a game.
in the American League.
Yeah. That's why. Because
like
Cy
him-
Young goes to the best
I feel like
pitcher
him
in the
and, I
American
feel like
League.
him and Chris Sale might be neck and neck.
It's close, but I would pick you, Darvish, because he's filthy. He's filthy.
All right, so who do you got for MVP?
MVP, mine's easy. Mike Trout. It's easy.
I think
Should have been the MVP the last
I think
2 seasons.
because of the way the Orioles are going to win the East and Bo Schulter is going to get Manager of the Year, I think it's going to be on the wings and shoulders of Chris Davis, and I think this year he just launching past what he did last year.
I
Just
think he's going to be
continues it.
better this year.
I think
Wow.
he's be better, and just like how Mike Trout had to lose out to Cabrera twice, I think he loses out again to Chris Davis this time, and we just recognize Mike Trout as possibly the greatest baseball player in the game because who does that,
He's the best. Yeah. Go
But
ahead, Sean.
Chris Davis, MVP.
Yeah, they didn't do that the last 2 seasons. Go ahead, Sean.
If Durant can win the NBA MVP,
Oh.
then Mike Trout should win MVP this year in the American
I
League.
kind of feel
Except
hold on, I feel
Mike
like
Trout's
disgust-
LeBron. For me.
What?
And Cabrera's Durant?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Who's
What?
the best basketball player alive, DK?
Basketball player alive?
Yeah.
Oh man, alive.
Okay.
No,
Playing in the NBA.
LeBron.
Who's the second best player?
Kevin Durant.
Who's the best baseball player playing in Major League Baseball right now? All around. And if you say Cabrera, I'm going to smack you.
The best baseball player
Talking
in the game.
defense and hitting.
Mike Trout's the best player we've seen in, like, decades.
Well, I know. I just don't want to. I just don't want to bypass anyone else that would deserve
It's
consideration.
Mike.
But I agree. Mike Trout, yes, he's
Okay.
the best overall.
Who do you have?
I think Mike Trout's going to win it, but here's a guy that has a realistic shot, and I have yet to hear his name on, like, preview shows or even, like, as a fantasy stud. It's not Chris Davis. If the Orioles win the division, it's going to be on Adam Jones's.
Oh,
goodness,
I was like,
no.
who is he going to say?
He's
Okay.
about as 5 tools you can get.
Absolutely.
Oh wow,
Adam
Yeah,
Jones.
yeah.
Doesn't get on base.
Adam Jones is an MVP candidate, and
Wow.
another
Surprised
guy.
didn't say Delman Young.
We're not,
Most
we're
improved
not,
player.
we're not having him back. This is the last time Greg Wong's going to be on our podcast. And one more guy who I read an article that he should be a Hall of Famer, and it made a really compelling case. I think if he gets a ring, it could happen. He's the best third baseman in the game. If the Rangers win the AL West, Adrian Beltre is going to have an MVP.
He's good.
Adrian Beltre.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
so underappreciated. It's ridiculous. The way that guy plays
Another I
defense.
wish he was a Dodger still.
Oh my God, Adrian Beltre is so good. So, Trout's my MVP pick, but Adam Jones and
I
Adrian
think it's
Beltre.
sick that a lot of these MVP Manager of the Year, Cy Young, like 2 out of the 3 of us pretty much like agreed.
Yeah,
Right.
except Greg's.
Yeah.
Greg's off in his own little world, and whatever.
Listen, I'm not.
All right, so that's our American
I'm not in
League.
love with Delman Young like some people.
We're gonna do the National League now. We'll probably speed through the NL East, the NL Central, just to give us more time on the NL West. So which division you guys want to start with? You guys want to do?
We'll go with East first. We'll go
NL
with
Yeah,
East?
we'll just go east all the way down and then
NL
we'll,
East.
we'll hit it.
All right,
All right.
NL East is pretty easy, I think, this year. Yeah,
the Nationals.
you have the Nationals.
Oh, no.
You don't have the Nationals.
No.
It's shocking.
We have the Nationals.
Oh, wow.
Well, not shocking the way.
I have the Nationals second.
Nationals. Do you have the Braves winning it all?
I have the Braves winning it all.
Okay,
All right, so for me, the National League, it's like this. It's the Dodgers, Nationals, and Cardinals, and almost everybody else. Almost that way. They're the 3 best teams in the National League by far.
I have the Dodgers, Nationals, Cardinals winning their division.
Yeah.
So
We'll just, you know what? Why don't you do your East? Because I don't
Yeah, we'll stay in the
I don't
East.
agree with anything that you guys just said. So, well, as it's
fine.
written down, as it's written down, I don't
run
agree.
through your East.
Okay, I'll run through my East very quickly. I have the Nationals winning it all. I'm not winning it. Winning the
Winning the
East.
division.
Winning the East. I have the Braves finishing second, obviously. I actually have the Phillies finishing third and
too.
maybe finishing second.
Yeah.
I could make that decision by the end of this podcast.
We'll talk Phillies after this thing.
And then the Mets and the Marlins.
That's exactly mine.
I have the Braves finishing first, the Nationals finishing second. I have Miami finishing third, and the Phillies and the Yankees, or the Mets, fourth and fifth.
I've been around DK for long enough time to hear him say some crazy things. The Marlins in third place?
I
What?
think-
Sorry, I missed that.
What?
I think Fernandez is a year older.
You picked the Astros to finish fourth.
Stanton, he's that guy.
The Marlins are
That's-
so
oh my
bad.
goodness.
I think
Oh,
they're
okay.
good enough to finish third. The Phillies are too old in just the right spots.
The Marlins.
And
Did you pick
the Mets are the Mets. Rollins is old.
I don't have
Howard's old. Utley's old.
I don't
Cliff
have-
Lee's old.
I don't have the energy to refute Marlins at third, but just know that that's not.
I think the Marlins are better than the Astros. I don't think that. I think they're a lot better than the Astros. They don't. The
Stan- okay,
Astros have
Stan's-
nobody as good as Stan
Stan
and
and
Jose
Fernandez.
Fernandez.
And you
better
thought
than
it would
anyone
be
on
all
that team.
agreeing and freaking hugs all day long. Nope.
Marlins, no.
All right, so let's take these pieces. First, the Phillies. To me,
I think the Phillies are good.
okay, I don't think they're. I think actually no, I take that back. I think they're going to be
Better
third.
than a lot of people
They're going to be
think.
third, but Cliff Lee and Cole Hamels. A lot of people kind of overlooked that. I feel like because
I
they've
don't know
been
why
so bad.
people overlook that.
They're
It's
the
Cliff
two
Lee
be-
and Cole
they're the
Hamels.
two of the best pitchers in the National League. AJ Burnett's 37 years old. Kyle
But
Kendrick and Roberto Hernandez are
Can I ask
bad.
you a question? Has Cole Hamels started to feel his arm yet?
That's
Is
also
he
true.
going
That's
yet?
all the reason why I think they're going to be third.
Yeah.
And they
Did
can't
Cliff
hit.
Lee not
and they
just give
can't
up?
hit. That's the other thing. They can't. They won't be able to hit.
And Roy Halladay's coming back, but he's going to pitch left-handed. He's not going to pitch right.
So that's why I think
That's how
they're
good Roy
They're
Halladay
going to be
is.
better than fourth, but they're going to be third. They can't hit to save their life.
You know what? I think Ryan Howard's going to have a bounce-back season.
Oh,
I know he
goodness.
strikes out a ton, but I could see 30 home runs from Ryan Howard, right?
Goodness.
While batting 185.
I don't care
batting
about his
185.
batting average. He hits home runs.
That's great. That's great.
And Chase Utley's still a really good baseball player. People forget about that. Chase
no,
Utley's still
he-
really good.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good, but
He's
he's
just getting older.
He's just older.
Another old guy.
He's a little bit more brittle.
Yeah.
Ryan Howard can't play the first base that he used to, and I mean, even then he was
Signing
still kind of.
Marlon Bird makes no sense to me.
Oh, they
Everything
needed outfield help.
That's a
That was-
veteran presence.
No,
That's okay, right?
No.
Let me say this.
Peak year last season, he can't play defense.
Let me say this. I'm a huge fan of Grey's Anatomy. I don't care what you guys think of me. I'm a huge fan of Grey's
Thanks
Anatomy.
for outing yourself. Thank you.
Chase Utley is the less attractive version of Patrick Dempsey. If you look at them next to each
All
other,
right, high five. I can agree
they're
with that. I
so
can
much alike. Chase Utley's hair is so much worse than Patrick
And
Dempsey.
I kind of see it.
But
I
they
kinda
look
see
so
it.
much alike.
I kinda see
And
it.
I love Patrick Dempsey just because he's awesome on Grey's Anatomy. But I
All
hate
right, so-
Chase Utley.
So if I can get it straight, you and Greg both have the exact same NL
East.
East.
Let's just-
And what was it again?
No, you have the Phillies second?
Nationals, Braves, Phillies, Mets, Marlins, and I could see the Phillies and Braves teetering together.
I'm actually going to pick the Marlins to finish fourth.
Fourth? You think the Mets are going to be fifth?
Yeah.
God, if Matt Harvey was healthy.
If Matt Harvey was healthy, I'd
that'd
actually
be totally
kinda like
different.
that.
That'd be totally different. I'd have the Mets probably up in third, almost second.
I'd almost think the Mets have a chance to contend for a playoff spot.
They wouldn't contend for a playoff spot, but they'd be so much better.
Yeah,
They
but
still
they're
got
way
some
better.
holes to fix. Lucas Duda's their first pick.
Actually, I think I'm going kind of crazy because we've been in here so long. I'm picking the Marlins.
Marlins fifth. If Matt Harvey was healthy.
Yeah.
Only one team comes out of the East.
That's true. For me, that's true. Too many question marks around the Braves pitching.
The Braves could do it, though.
They
The
could.
The Braves could come
But
really
I
close.
think there's too much.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Anything on the Nationals? Bryce Harper, I think he looks like the
Perfect.
whole...
Last year was a fluke for me.
Wait, the Nationals are only going to go as far as Steven Strasburg's right shoulder and as healthy as Harper. can
Obviously,
be.
with any team,
they
I
got-
think
Well,
health
no,
is
no,
gonna
no,
be
but you know what I mean.
They
I
got
know
Gio
he's-
and Jordan Zimmerman.
Understood,
And they added Doug
Fister.
Fister, who is having some injury problems.
understood that.
Gio's an ace, and I think Zimmerman's.
I mean, other than Gio, I'm pretty sure everyone else kind of sees themselves after Strasburg. in that rotational.
They see them because they're all good though.
I'm just saying,
it doesn't matter if they see them.
Strasburg is considered a deity in Washington. Let me tell you that they've wanted the National baseball team to be really good for a while, and he was the guy who brought on there. I don't know why people don't love Ryan Zimmerman more, but
Jordan.
Jordan
and Ryan.
Ryan Zimmerman's been there forever, and he was the catalyst back.
I respect the Nationals. I just think they're finishing second, and they're gonna barely miss out on the playoffs. Like barely.
For me, last year was another thing where everything went poorly for them,
wrong.
Especially with the bats.
Yeah.
I think Jason Worth was. He had a pretty good year last year, but he was hurt.
He was down from what they expected.
But the Nationals always had that.
Zimmerman was down. LaRoche was down.
Who had a horrible year.
Denard Span was down last year.
Is it Rendon?
Rendon.
He's going to be good. He's going to be good.
If you're playing fantasy baseball this year,
I have him one of my teams.
Think about Anthony Rendon. He's pretty good. All right, so that's the East.
You
have the Braves.
I have the Braves. Nationals, Marlins, Phillies, Mets in that order.
And one playoff team coming from the division?
Yeah. I say one.
Right now I have the Braves as a wild card. I could be talked out of that from the Central.
All right, let's go to the NL Central.
NL Central.
Why don't you go first, Greg?
And again, St. Louis Cardinals are one of the three best teams in the National League. Dodgers, Cardinals, and Nationals. You could all mix and match however you want in the top three order, but I think the Cardinals are by far the best team in this division, and I don't think it's all that close at all. It's a one-man division for me.
Run through the rest of yours.
I have the Cardinals finishing first, I have the Pirates second, Reds third, Brewers fourth, and the Cubs are one of the worst teams in baseball.
I have the Pirates winning the division, and I have St. Louis finishing a very close second. Cincinnati
who winning the division?
I have Pittsburgh winning the division.
Oh.
And I have it as a dogfight with the Cardinals. The Cardinals lose out by just barely half game to a game. And then I think there's a big drop-off after those two teams, and it's Cincinnati third, huge gap there, and then Milwaukee, and then a bigger gap between them and Chicago.
John?
I got the Brew Crew last.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a horrible year for the Brewers. I think it's going to be
not as bad as it's going to be in Chicago.
I think it's going to be so up and down for the Brewers, though, that the Brewers and Cubs are going to stare down at each other and be like, you know what? You can be last place this year.
We're going to play Flip Cup?
Yeah. See who
winner
wins,
gets fourth.
And you get fourth place. Neither one of them are very good. Samardzija, Samardizja.
Didn't you say that just showing up?
Jeff Samardzija.
He's the only bright spot.
He's my favorite Notre Dame receiver of all time, and he's pitching opening day for the Chicago Cubs. I have a little more faith in Anthony Rizzo than I do in the Milwaukee Brewers. Starlin Castro could make a jump. Junior Lake, another guy to look at. He came on strong.
You're right. They do have a better upside to them, the Cubs.
No on Junior Lake.
Nate Shearholtz. He can hit some home runs.
He's a solid hitter.
Never forget.
He's a 280. He's a solid 280 guy.
I'm just making the case that I think the Cubs are just that much better than the Brewers.
Right, you're still saying they're going to be bad.
I think the Brewers are going to be horrible, and I think the Cubs are going to be horrible.
Oh, I agree. I think they both are going to be horrible, but I think the Cubs are just going to be just kind of Cubs.
But focusing on
I have the Pirates.
top teams.
I have the Pirates third, and it's close. I think it's going to be close all the way up the top for those three teams. I have the Pirates third. You could talk me into the Pirates making the playoffs as a wild card team coming out of there. I still favor the Braves just by a little bit. McCutchen's the real deal. I'm so glad he won MVP last year that people recognize how good Andrew McCutchen is. Has been for a while. I'm a big fan of his. Starling Marte, I had him on my fantasy team the past 2 years. I think he's a big time player. He's going to make a good run. Neil Walker, he can hit sometimes. Game-winning home run. I don't know. I've always been a big fan of Russell Martin. I'm sad he's not a Yankee anymore, but the pitching staff's going to be a question mark for me. I don't think people realize how much A.J. Burnett helped them last year. Liriano's going to have to stay healthy this year. Liriano's considered their ace right now.
True.
Look, they have a lot of young guys. Jeff Locke came into the playoffs and threw great.
Not even in the rotation.
And it's shocking. I mean, they have a lot of depth in Pittsburgh. I think Charlie Morton's still there.
Yep.
Yeah, Charlie Morton. Blondie, right?
Gurley's coming off injury.
Gurley's coming out, but they have Mark Melanson to step in. I think Pittsburgh's a good team. I just don't trust them as much this year as I did last year. I have Cincinnati second. I'm not as down as Cincinnati as everyone else is. Everyone seems to be kind of down.
They're going to be able to hit.
Hitting's going to be an issue.
Can I explain though? When I say it's a big gap between the top two, and when I say Pittsburgh and St. Louis, and then that gap, and then the Reds. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the Rays argument for me, and I'm not really down on the Reds. I just think they're not as good as the Pirates and the Cardinals in that head-to-head matchup area where they can catch up on that ground. You know what I mean?
Okay. I can see that. I think if there's
the loss of Shin Chu Chu is going to hurt more than
it is.
They're giving.
It's going to hurt quite a bit.
They're going to give.
And Billy Hamilton is not Shin Chu. We can just say that. But I think I already brought this list up. If there's a list of the 5 best hitters in baseball and Joey Votto's not on there, it's an incomplete list.
And he might be the best.
I think he's the best left-handed hitter in baseball.
Yeah,
I'll say
true.
it.
Yeah.
I think Joey Votto is one of the most underappreciated players in the history of Major League Baseball.
Well, you know why he's underappreciated, though?
Because he plays in Cincinnati?
No.
Because he plays in that ballpark in Cincinnati?
More than that. It's because he's such a professional hitter. He's such a high on-base percentage that the criticism always is, why does he swing at more pitches?
Idiotic.
Is it going to hurt?
And
that's why he's underappreciated.
That's idiotic.
No, I'm not saying I think that.
That's
why.
That's where statistical guys help out to tell us just how good Joey Votto is. He's unbelievable. I think I have more faith in Joey Votto than I do.
My question to those guys is always what about the guys after?
Right. And
what
about if I had 9 guys in my lineup that all took walks every time, I'd be the best team in baseball.
You'd be doing well. So I think Joey Votto, look, he's going to put you in any playoff hunt possible. I think Jay Bruce, he's a monster. He can hit home runs, especially in Great American Ballpark. I know he has a strikeout problem.
Doesn't get on base.
Doesn't get on base much, but he's a good player. And I think a lot of people are down on Brandon Phillips. He had a rough year last year. Brandon Phillips, he can still swing the bat.
I agree with
you. Brandon Phillips.
You're
very down on him.
You know.
I think
honestly though, in those middle infield positions, the older you get, people get down on you for no reason other than your age, really. And Brandon Phillips,
I don't see it.
I had Brandon Phillips
because
I had Brandon Phillips on my fantasy
age is a
baseball
good
team
reason
last year.
Okay?
He no, it is, but he still batted reasonably well for his age at the position.
And he doesn't have to carry the load as much as he
it was
used
like 15, 20 home runs.
I think the real issue is catcher. Ryan Hannigan was a very underrated part of their team. They have Devin Mesoraco now.
He was a good prospect.
Yeah, he's not great. Also, Zach Cozart, I've been waiting for him to break out as a shortstop of the Cincinnati Reds. He just hasn't done it.
Can't hit.
Well, I think he's broken out as far as he can.
Defensively, he
break
has,
out.
but he
well,
just
that's
can't
what
hit.
I'm saying. Like, I don't think he's gonna ever.
If they could get a hitting shortstop, they'd be better. But here's the thing you got to look at with Cincinnati.
I mean, if his nickname was the Wizard of Z or whatever, they'd be probably more appreciative of his defense and not care about his offense.
It's an Ozzie Smith reference. The thing you have to look at with Cincinnati that's going to put them directly in this playoff hunt, their pitching staff is so good. People forget how good Johnny Cueto is. He was hurt all of last year. He got hurt in that Giants playoff series.
I was there.
What was it, first inning? Like
Yes.
7 pitches, I think
Yes.
it was. Johnny Cueto's an ace. I mean, he's a dark horse ace. So I think Johnny Cueto's going to have a huge year. Latos and Homer Bailey, they're
Latos
good.
is hurt right now.
But they have depth too that could step up.
Mike Leake, if he can.
Homer Bailey can be a number 2.
Hasn't proven very much.
If Leake can be 3/4 of the pitcher he was last year, he'll be fine.
This is the problem for Cincinnati, and one of the scariest things I've ever seen on a baseball field is Chapman. Chapman.
Oh, I was going to say,
when you throw that hard and the ball comes back and hits you in the head, I would, if I were him, I wouldn't set foot on another baseball field. But if he's healthy and back to throwing 100 miles an hour, they have a bullpen that can just smother you.
I will say, kind of a dark horse. Sleeper.
J.J. Hoover.
Tony Cingrani.
He's a legit
led
number 2.
the league in strikeout rate last year.
He's the number 5 starter there.
Ahead of every.
Wait, what? I thought he was number 2.
No, Cingrani's the number 5.
Oh.
Number 2 in their hearts.
Yeah.
In their hearts. He's a lefty too.
Again, rotation.
That's my
not
point.
Always the order.
But Cincinnati, I think their pitching will hold them in there. I know they don't get on base, but I trust Joey Votto.
All right.
And then first in the division, the St. Louis Cardinals. I know they lost Beltran. They're going to make up for it. John Jay, not the best of players, but he can do some things.
Federalist.
Allen. Oh my God.
What?
Not that John Jay. The other John Jay.
Oh my God.
That's the UC Davis education coming into play right there. Alan Craig moving to right field and Matt Adams getting more at bats at first base. I think is going to be a big deal.
That's going to be good for Matt.
It's going to hurt
Matt
the defense.
It's going to hurt the defense, but Matt Adams is a good hitter. Yadier Molina he's the best catcher in baseball.
Yeah.
Yadier Molina's the best
defensive catcher in baseball.
No, Yadier Molina's the best catcher in baseball all around. When you factor in everything,
I'm not as offended as the Delman Young quote because Yadier Molina is excellent, but
Delman Young's a good player. I am a strong believer in Yadier Molina. Matt Holliday still plays on that team too, and when Matt Holliday's healthy, he's a really strong hitter. I think.
Plus, who's waiting in the wings? The young outfielder, Oscar Tavares. For them, best prospect in baseball.
Hopefully, he gets pulled up.
Yeah,
I very badly want to see him play Major League Baseball.
And I think underrated acquisition was when they traded David Freed for Peter Borges. Who's some people say is the best defensive player in the game.
Just his hitting.
Johnny Peralta picking up Johnny Peralta was huge.
Big move. It's a big shortstop.
They just have extreme depth in the farm system too.
Matt
can
Carpenter.
bring up players.
I hate the Cardinals. Not as much as the Giants, but I hate the Cardinals.
You should hate the Cardinals.
I don't hate the Cardinals.
I think the Cardinals.
If you don't break Hanley Ramirez's rib, totally different series. Still bitter about that.
He has a right. He has a right
totally
to
bitter
not
about
like the
that.
Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are the best team in the National League.
Scared of Hanley. That's why he broke his rib.
Yeah.
What's up?
Cardinals are the best team in the
agree.
National League.
Actually, well, we're about to get.
Yeah, you know what?
We're done with the Central,
I
right?
could.
Yeah.
I can make an argument. Someone can make an argument to me that the Cardinals, yes, they are the best team.
I do want to say that I do think the Pirates are going to have a good chance. I think not a good chance, but I think they could contend for a wild card spot.
Yeah.
Because I think
I do have the Cardinals making the wild card.
They do a lot of things. They're another team that does platoons really well, and they play really good defense throughout the. And Russell Martin, you know this. He's a really good defensive player too.
Yeah. All right, so you guys gave me a bunch of time on American League East. I'll go first on National League West. These guys are NL West fans, so I'll run through mine. Just give you my little spiel. I got the Dodgers winning it all. I think the Dodgers are excellent. As DK will tell you, they're deep. Their pitching is good. If Kershaw comes back healthy, then Kershaw and Greinke are, in my mind, they're the best 1-2 combination in baseball.
Ryu's a pretty good three.
And Josh Beckett. As a Yankee fan, I hate Josh Beckett, so I know what Josh Beckett can
Chad
do.
Billingsley out of the stadium.
Yeah, we'll see about that. So I got the Dodgers first. I'm gonna surprise you guys with this, and I know I am. I have the Rockies second.
Whoa!
A healthy Colorado Rockies.
Wow!
Healthy.
Seth Smith, you gonna trust Seth Smith? Is that what's going on?
Seth Smith in San Diego.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, and Michael Kadire. Those three can win you games.
Yep.
They can win you games. Their pitching is underrated. There's not an ace on the staff, but De La Rosa looks good. They just have their offense. It scares me, and I think they're going to put together some runs. There's going to be a surprise team in Major League Baseball this year.
We can get to that a little later on. We can all give it a little sleeper pick.
There's going to be a surprise team, but I think the Rockies make a run. Third team in the NL West.
Don't say it.
San Diego Padres.
Wow.
I'm not upset about the Padres pick.
Look,
I'm just upset about who you're leaving out.
Look, I think the NL West is going to be nuts this year. I think it got so good because it used to be the worst division in baseball by a long shot. They were so horrible. I think what San Diego has put together, Everth Cabrera, Yonder Alonso, I think the addition of Seth Smith is going to be
Our YouTube fans are in for a treat today.
Yasmani Grandal is going to be good. I think San Diego's pitching staff, Ian Kennedy's pretty good.
No, he sucked last year.
It's
not like it is.
I'm not necessarily a believer in the Padres, but I can see it playing out. Rockies and Padres switching with the Giants and the D-backs. Fourth, I have the Giants. Fifth, I have the D-backs. I don't trust the D-backs without Patrick Corbin. I think Mark Trumbo is going to be a monster for them. I think Paul Goldschmidt, if you're listing the 5 greatest hitters in baseball right now, Goldschmidt has to be on that list right now.
It's your fault we had to go to Australia, Goldschmidt.
Greg Goldschmidt has to be on that list right now.
I have to think about that one.
Goldschmidt's one of the best hitters in baseball.
I don't think I'd say that.
That's not enough. Goldschmidt and Trumbo.
He can grow into it, though, even if he isn't.
It's not enough. I know Prado's still there. Parra can't hit as well. I don't think they did enough. And the pitching staff really is hurt by Patrick Corbin being there. I could see them making a push as a wild card, but I could very much see them finishing in last place. And the Giants, look, they've had a magical run over the last 3-4 years. They've put together teams that have no business even being in the playoffs, and then they just get hot. And they're led by Buster Posey. And look, I don't like the Giants at all. I don't like the way they run. I don't like their manager. I don't like most of their players. Oh. But Buster Posey is... I love Buster Posey, and I always will. He's just a terrific guy, terrific player. But I don't trust any of those Giants. Sandoval, he's going to be a horrible player this year.
Wow.
Kung Fu Panda.
The Giants need to find a way to DH him in the National League. They should pitch Pablo Sandoval so he doesn't have to play third base anymore.
Don't say that. They're going to try that, and also they're going to figure out. You know what they're going to figure out? They're going to figure out that he throws a 99-mile-per-hour fastball somehow, and his stamina is better on the mound.
He's got enough weight to actually just turn his hips and throw a 90-mile-an-hour. Whatever. Brandon Crawford cannot hit, and that's a shame because he's a really good fielder. If he could hit, I would believe much more in the Giants.
You see on my face is you can't see his face on the camera right now.
Brandon Belt's a solid hitter, but I would much rather DH him.
Solid hitter.
Scudero's hurt right now, which is a big deal. If you're
That is a big deal.
you're stating Joaquin Arias and Adrianza, a guy I've never even heard of before the season at second base.
Adrianza.
Whatever.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, exact Gesundheit. That's a problem, and I don't believe too much in Angel Pagan. I never have. I never will. Hunter Pence is fun to watch. I'll give you that. He's fun to watch. Michael Morse, he's your starting left fielder. That's a problem, Craig. That's a problem. The Giants aren't making the playoffs. I just don't see it happening this year. If Timmy can bounce back, then maybe. But Mad Bum and Kane and Hudson are not going to be enough. Mad Bum, I love.
Yeah, Vogelsong.
That was sarcasm right there. I was hoping it was sarcasm.
50-50.
Vogelsong's past his prime by about 6 years. I don't see much happening from the Giants this year. I think it's the Dodgers division to win. Is there any argument in that Dodgers division to win? I think it's them. Look, I see the Rockies and the Padres making moves this year. I think the Rockies could be a huge trade partner at the trade line. I think they could make a real big move and get a piece. And this is the last point I'll make on the National League West. Troy Tulowitzki should enjoy his time in Colorado because he is the opening day shortstop of the New York Yankees in 2015.
Don't say it.
Go ahead. There's
You can.
That's my NL West.
You can go first.
I'll sit back and relax and let you guys chill.
You can go first so you can have
my NL
first
West.
rebuttal
Thank
off
you.
of what Sean just said.
Obviously, I have the Dodgers. I think they're the best team in the National League, which pains me to say this, but they are really, really good. Greinke, Ryu, and Kershaw. I don't know how anybody's going to get through that.
And that bullpen's pretty good.
I mean, they have Dan Haren, fourth starter, which, again, you can do a lot worse. He hasn't been good the last few years. But
And if Beckett's a 5.
And Beckett's a 5. I mean, you can say
In a
what you want
playoff
about
game?
Josh, but...
Playoff game, Beckett's there.
All right, I have the Dodgers first, the Giants second. I actually have the Padres third, Diamondbacks fourth, and the Rockies fifth.
Okay.
DK, you can say yours.
I was going to say, well, we agree on one thing. The Padres are finishing third. I have the Giants winning the West. I think that...
All right, you guys have all stood up and walked away.
I think that...
What?
Buster Posey is going to be enough of a force in the middle of that
can't
lineup.
help. Reverse jinx, reverse
And
jinx.
Are you serious right
Reverse
now?
jinx.
And I think that Tim Lincecum bounces back a little bit this year, and Matt Cain also bounces back a little bit this year. And they win enough of the NL West games against the Dodgers that I think they win the West. I think the Dodgers finish second and make the wild card.
I agree with some of your points.
San
DK,
Diego-
but why are the Dodgers not first?
Well, because
that.
I was going to say, look, yeah, number 1 and 2, and like Kershaw and Greinke are a great 1 and 2, and Ryu has proven that he can pitch in clutch situations, but he's also proven that he's not really there yet on the walks and the innings pitched, like 6th, 7th inning. The bullpen.
He had 2 playoff appearances last year.
I understand.
You can't judge it off that.
No, I understand. But living in the moment and actually,
The bullpen.
being looked upon to do it again is a whole different thing. The bullpen, they all had kind of... I know they didn't have career years, but they had better years than the average, years they've had.
Kenley Jansen's the real deal.
Oh, I'm not worried about Kelly Johnson.
He's the
Kelly
real
Johnson,
deal.
he's the hammer at the back end.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about
Poor
that.
man's Mariano.
His cutter is
What I'm worried
ridiculous.
about is, and I worried about this
rich
before
poor man's.
Brian Wilson won the DL, by the way. I'm more worried about the setup men, the 7th inning, and the 6th, 7th inning, and the 8th inning guys.
Chris Perez, Brandon Lee.
Because Chris Perez had a great year with the Indians last year,
He did.
and I'm hoping that he has another great year for the Dodgers. But just like the change of scenery can work one way, the change of scenery can also work another way.
Too much pressure.
Too much pressure. Brian Wilson, I haven't seen him pitch a whole year, since a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And this was my worry about seeing him the whole year. Can he do the things that he did for the 20-game or whatever game stretch it was that he was phenomenal in, but he didn't pitch. He wasn't there for the whole time. So I want to know what happens when, inevitably, when the middle of the season swoon sort of hits, can the bullpen be the people that we need, that the Dodgers need them to be? Or are they going to also feel the pressure and kind of regress back to the average that they normally do? And as a Dodger fan, I'm more worried about the middle relief, the bullpen, not necessarily the very back end. Also,
JP Howell's still really good.
Local
Paco.
like I said, all of them were really good last year.
Chris
And
Perez.
Paco also last year was his first full year in the majors. He just came from college the year before that, after going through a college World Series and all that. you gotta wonder how much wear on his arm that he can take just consecutive, years and just pitches before he kind of gets that dead arm period. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't, but it always
He
worries
did.
me.
Oh my goodness,
But-
Sean Mattingly just kills that arm.
But the lineup, you got
Is amazing. It's amazing.
it can be amazing.
It's
It
amazing.
can be amazing. If Carl
Amazing's
Crawford,
a strong word.
if Carl Crawford can, get out of his head and
Can
actually
beat
be a
Cole
leadoff hitter,
Crawford from 3 years ago in Tampa Bay.
or even Carl Crawford in the playoffs, then I'm not worried. But is he going to be Carl Crawford from the beginning of the year last year? Is he going to be Carl Crawford when I saw in the preseason? Last year, maybe not this year. He did actually pretty well. Is Yasiel Puig going to grow? Is he going to mature a little bit more this year? Or is he going to rely on his athleticism?
I agree with DK. I don't agree with that point. I agree with DK's point that the
is-
lineup isn't that
Is Hanley
amazing.
Is Hanley going to come back with the same sense of urgency that he had last year when he had a little bit of injury, had to come back? I don't know. Maybe I'm just
For
too
me,
close.
I'm not worried about Hanley.
Maybe I'm just too close to the team watching it all the time.
Do you remember? If I showed you a picture of him, would you remember who Matt Kemp is?
Yes.
When Matt Kemp is healthy, he's one of the 10 best players in the game.
I agree.
But he isn't healthy.
But he isn't healthy.
He will be.
It's true.
But he was
I'm not-
supposed to
okay.
be healthy last
I'm
year.
not
as well.
worried about
I'm
him.
just,
He's
I'm
supposed
just
to
saying.
play on Friday.
Now, that worries me.
You're being way too hard on the Dodgers.
It just,
You are being pretty hard on
like
him.
them finishing second in the West, no.
But look.
but
okay.
I have them as a top wild card,
All right,
There you
number
go,
one
there
wild
you go.
card. I
All
do
right.
have them as number one wild card.
all right.
Hanley, I'm not concerned about. Puig, not concerned about. Gonzalez, not concerned about. Well, he's kind of getting
You
old.
shouldn't
so
be concerned
I'm
about
a
Adrian
little,
Gonzalez.
But
Sweetest
he's only
swing.
31, which is surprising to
Yeah.
me. But
That is younger than I thought as
He
well.
makes a lot of money too.
Ethier is getting to the point where he's not a very good.
He's trade bait.
Yeah.
Can we agree?
Not
He's
as good.
trade bait.
Yes,
and
yes,
that
yes.
contract
And that's
is an
why
atrocity.
that's why he's in the starting lineup. To get as
AJ
much
Ellis
at-bats
always
as he
gets
can.
on base. Uribe, he
He's
I know
a
he showed some
serviceable
flashes
third
last
baseman.
season, but people forget before that he was disgraceful. D. Gordon can't hit. Crawford, as DK said, we don't necessarily know what he's going to get from him.
They lost Punto in the offseason.
That
They
doesn't-
lost
doesn't
Schumacher
matter.
in the offseason.
Doesn't matter.
Punto matters.
No, those two guys matter
Doesn't
because
matter.
those
Doesn't
guys
matter.
are professional hitters that come off the bench,
Doesn't
that play
matter.
defense, that pretty much.
They got Sean Figgins now, so it's okay.
It's
That's who
Sean
they.
Figgins.
That's who they replaced him with. Was Choney? I call him Choney Figgins.
I hate
All right.
you.
Anyways,
But look, I'm not. I guess,
your worry with the Dodgers is middle relief.
you're worried.
and that's
the problem.
big, and that's huge.
DK, the easiest part of your team
You know
to
what?
fix is middle relievers because they're literally a dime a dozen.
Kershaw, Greinke, Ryu are going 7
Kershaw-
innings a night at
Plus, Billingsley still is coming back this season.
least. Oh, you're killing me, DK.
The offense, I agree, would be if you're trying to look for a weakness. Some of the hitting can be poor, and maybe some of the middle relief, but it's almost this is a really good team. DK.
I don't know. I've literally.
I think you've
lived-
gotten to the point in fandom where you're just
I've
always a
lived,
negative
I've
person.
lived in this region of California for so long that I know what the Giants can do the year after they miss the playoffs. And I know what the Dodgers have done in the last, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Even the beginning of last year.
All right.
Okay, look.
They spent a lot of
hold on,
money.
hold on. They made the playoff last year great, right? I loved it. But if you think about it, they had to have a historical run in the
But it happened.
His name's Yasiel Puig.
But I'm just saying, you can't I don't know.
It happened though. That's just part of the ups and downs of the season. They
I
were
know.
so bad at
after,
first.
after hearing everything
know.
he just said, this is a reverse jinx from a Dodgers
It's
fan.
totally a
wanting to
reverse
get on the
jinx.
bandwagon.
Totally
he
a
knows the
reverse
Dodgers
jinx.
are going to win the NL West. He's just being cautious.
I-
That's ridiculous.
All right, so
you know they're the best team in the
Can we
NL
get
West.
our final point of our preview? Let's get to the Giants, who Sean has berated.
Hold on, we have to get to the NL champion and then the MVP Cy Young.
Well, he
man.
wants, he wants to go
oh.
for
Talk about the
He wants to do
Giants.
the Giants, then we'll do that.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
I thought you said wrap it up.
Look, I
with
want to
that.
skip the Giants too, but whatever.
DK, for some reason, is an optimist about this team. Sean,
Hold on. To back my point,
Oh my God.
I did call them to win the World Series against the Tigers in a sweep if they won the first game.
But they were already there, so I mean,
But at the
yes.
second half of that season, when everyone here on Aggie Talk was like, "Oh no, it's not," I said, "Don't worry, Giants are going to win the division. They're going to win the NL. They're going to make it the World Series. Don't worry about
They
it."
beat your reverse jinx. It
It's
happened.
because
See-
the
see,
Yankees
that
tired
proves
out
it's
the
not
Tigers.
it's not reverse jinx. That's just what I think.
I know they beat. Okay,
The Giants won. The Giants won that World Series because the Tigers
I
were
would
fatigued.
say that the Giants. Every team gets lucky when they make it to the playoffs. Everybody needs luck. Giants got more luck than others in their first 2 World Series
Twice in
rings.
3 years.
But that was predicated on the fact that first one, they had one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. And the second time,
And
they had some of the
Brian Wilson.
upside of the best pitching staff in baseball. And they had some, the hitters came alive at the right time. That's what happened in both times.
Timely hitting.
But it was all predicated on the fact that they had really good pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So that can win. It wasn't all luck. They had really good
Oh,
pitching.
no, I've never said it was all luck,
Yes.
but a lot of it was
Yeah.
fortunate bounces.
Here's my
Braves second baseman's not wanting to play for the Braves anymore. Brooks Conrad, I hate you. There was a lot of things that went. No, it wasn't all luck.
Okay.
The Giants won 2. You can't argue with World Series.
Bumgarner, stud. Kane,
Ace.
stud. Kane's a stud.
Declining.
No.
Kane's declining.
Lincecum, I think, is coming. I think he's starting to figure out that he's how to pitch in a
Hey,
different
you know what?
way.
I've been telling this to Giant fans for 2 years now. You know how you get Tim Lincecum to pitch like the Cy Young Tim
Give him
Lincecum?
some weed.
Let him grow his hair long.
Let him smoke.
Let him sell his SUV and get a skateboard again, and let him smoke the herb.
I'm pretty sure he's still doing that anyways.
I highly doubt
I
it.
highly doubt
From the
it.
stats he's been
Not
putting up,
even
there's no
100%
way
sure that
Timmy's
he's
getting
doing
I
that.
hired.
highly doubt it.
There's no way Timmy's
I'm
getting hired.
99% sure he's still
He
up.
took
But
he took his money, he bought a car, got a haircut, got a girlfriend cleaned up, and you know what happens to that?
Took his money and got a girlfriend.
4.56 ERA. That's what happens.
That happened. Okay. Anyway,
Let Timmy smoke, and yes, Timmy Lincecum will be back.
Tim
But
Hudson.
he ain't
I
coming
think
back.
he's a very serviceable pitcher. I think he's going to be around like a 3.5 ERA, maybe even a 3 ERA because he pitches in the Giants ballpark.
And the rest of the NL
Tim
parks,
Hudson will have a lower ERA than Phil Hughes.
Yes,
Yes, I agree with that.
by at least a run.
Yes, I agree with that. But that's not
At
not
least
a
a run.
not a
That's not. That should not be a selling
not a
point
slight on
ever.
Phil
At
Hughes.
least a run.
If
Not
your
a slight
career is
on
coming
Phil
down to it,
Hughes.
you're gonna
Oh,
earn
man, I am
less
on the
runs.
Phil Hughes bandwagon so much right now.
Oh,
And I do
God.
think Vogelsong, he's 36 years old.
he's done.
People
He's
forget
36 years old?
because he was
Tony's been
because
around
he's been around
forever.
forever because he was pitching in Japan.
Oh,
minor
His,
league.
man.
his prime.
I thought he was
years
at
ago.
least 33.
I am scared about him, but I think there could be some room for. Look, 2 years ago, he was churning out quality start after quality start, day in and day out.
What do you think of Pettit or Petit?
Petite.
Petit is it Petit? Okay. There's never going to be another Pettit, but
He's not a.
not
starting-
there yet.
He's never going to be there.
I think he's got potential.
No.
I'd
he's
rather
not
him
very good.
have him in the rotation than
Absolutely
Vogelsong.
not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
But anyways, I don't think Petit's. That's my concern. Part of my concern is about the bullpen. Other than Sergio Romo, I'm concerned about. Right now, we have Machi, J.C. Gutierrez, David Huff, and Yusmeiro Petit. Those are 4 of our primary relievers in the bullpen.
David Huff's
awful.
good.
Gutierrez blew
That's
that
awful.
game yesterday.
And, yeah, Gutierrez blew the game yesterday. Jeremy Affel's on the DL, but he wasn't really pitching well when he's even in.
Romo's beard looks horrible. Horrible. He shaved
We're getting
here.
away from the point
He
right
shaved
now.
here, but left like here long, and now he's like trying to grow this back, so it's like a chin strap,
Right.
and then the
I will never
Romo.
insult. I will never insult.
He
Sergio
looks
Romo.
horrible. Grow your beard fully.
You know that
Romo.
accounts for at least 3 blown saves, right? Beard.
Not for Brian, but anyway.
I think Romo looks
No,
awful.
it's only 1 blown save and
Yeah.
a trip to the DL.
That's true.
But Romo's frisbee slider
Anyway,
looks really good.
Sergio Romo's a great reliever, but I'm concerned about the rest of the middle relief.
All right.
Pitting wise, I think they could be surprising this year because
Surprisingly bad.
Actually good, surprisingly good.
Michael Morse is your starting left fielder.
I agree, but he's our 7th hitter.
Joaquin Arias is your starting second baseman.
Marco Scudro's coming back. Hunter Pence.
There's
I
no
think, put
DH to
together-
save you.
Last year, people forget he put together a really good season last year.
Yeah, Hunter Pence is good.
Buster Posey, obviously, he's best
He's
catcher in
Buster
Major
Posey.
League Baseball.
No, he's not.
Best catcher in Major League Baseball.
Yadier Molina's the best catcher. in
Pablo,
baseball.
I think we could good for a rebound. He lost a lot of weight.
Good for a rebound.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What's wrong with Pablo? What has he shown that he can't?
He ain't going back
When
up.
has he shown that he can't be will never be a good
He's
hitter?
pretty
ever?
injury prone lately.
Every
He's
player.
not. He's not going to be anything what he used to be.
Wow.
You'll see a season
What-
more like last year than you did 2 seasons.
What did he really used to be, though?
He's gonna hit. He can hit. I can tell you. He can hit.
You can tell me. Yeah.
He's gonna have a bat 290, 350 on base, and he's gonna slug around 480, which is really good.
I can see the slugging. I can't see the on base.
I can see. I think he's gonna have a good season.
Does that mean he's taking walks and not swinging and striking out?
Because that's never
There's a
gonna happen.
misconception that he doesn't take walks. He actually takes walks. He
Whoa,
just swings out a lot of
whoa.
pitches.
I watch
ridiculous.
a lot. I mean, I
It's
watch
ridiculous.
a lot of Giants games for being a Dodgers
So
fan
do I.
living here, and
You're such a homer. It's ridiculous.
I've
with the
seen
Giants.
him strand runners at second and third more than him drive home
No.
those runs.
I think you guys are all wait. They should have paid him the money too. They should have extended him for what he wanted. I think he's a kidder that's on par with Hunter Pence, even maybe probably a little bit better. He plays third base, and he does it. He doesn't have very good range. He hasn't been very good so far this year, but I do think
pretty agile for a big man.
Yeah, and so Posey, Pence, Sandoval, good hit, all three good hitters, and Brandon Belt, who I think has a good chance to be the second best hitter on the Giants team. Even last year, he probably put together the second best season out of any of the
He's
Giants
a pretty
hitters.
sweet swing.
And I think Brandon Belt could make. He's already taken a huge jump this year. He's going to be really good. That's 4 good hitters in the lineup, and Angel Pagan I think is an underrated. He's really one of the most underrated players I think in baseball.
I think he's one of the most
As
overrated.
really good
Underrated where?
defender, good base running,
I think
All
Pagan-
and he can hit pretty
I
All
well.
I
think
hear on
Pagan is
AM
so
radio in this
overrated.
area is like, Andrew Pagan is an all-star, and like
He's
so
not an
can't
overrated.
all-star.
believe,
He's
like-
not an all. I don't think he's rated to be overrated. No.
He's
Good hitting, good pitching. They're going to make the playoffs.
I miss when it was just me and you.
Alrighty.
Whatever. You be still harping on how how could I pick Dodgers finish second?
Listen,
base?
I'm
I'm
glad-
never gonna let you live that down.
I'm glad I was here to set you guys right about your Delman Young love, but
It's
All right,
not
so
love. He's not
hold on,
horrible.
so-
he's not an atrocity.
he's a-
So are we gonna recap the NL West here now
So,
and move on, or what's going on?
all right. So here's my. Want to do my playoff picture?
Dodgers,
I got the Giants.
Giants. You got Dodgers,
Dodgers
making the
making
playoffs. I just have the Dodgers in the playoffs.
All right.
You just have or you have the Giants.
I have the
making
Giants in
playoffs.
the wild card.
Okay, it's 2 wild.
All
Okay.
right. So I'll do my playoff picture first.
Okay.
I have Dodgers in the West, Nationals in the East, and Cardinals in the Central. I have the Giants and Pirates making it to the playoffs.
Okay.
I have the Braves in the East, Pittsburgh in the Central, San Francisco in the West, and then St. Louis, LA making the wild cards.
Alrighty.
And I got Cardinals, Dodgers, Nationals all the way through. Sticking with the Reds. I like their hitting. I like their pitching. Going with the Braves too. Braves the wild card. Yeah.
Alrighty. So we should go to awards.
No,
Who-
who wins
oh,
the
who
National
wins the
League?
National
World
League?
Series?
I have the Cardinals again. It's going to be a
Cardinals?
sickening World Series. The Cardinals.
What
and
do you
the
have the
Yankees.
Cardinals beating?
Oh, the Cardinals beating. I said Dodgers.
I have Dodgers in Pittsburgh. I have Pittsburgh make it to the World Series. Small market World Series. Pittsburgh A's.
You're not putting
Wow.
the Dodgers in the World Series.
No.
Oh my God, I'm so disappointed in you. I have Dodgers over Nationals in the NLCS, and I think we're gonna see
Literally the only reason I'm not taking the Dodgers because I'm a Giants fan.
You're a Giants
so.
fan, yeah. All right. MVP in the National League.
You know what?
Who's your
I
MVP?
could say maybe I picked Pittsburgh because I'm a Dodgers fan. I don't know if that even makes sense.
Doesn't make sense.
It's a shame you're not.
It
taking
should if you're a Dodger
Who's
fan.
your National League MVP?
National League MVP. I had this. Why don't you go back? Come back.
Now, my MVP is going to make more sense why I picked the Giants to win the NL West. I had Buster Posey win the MVP. I have him just raking all year. Like 340, 30 home runs,
My man.
115 RBI, just raking.
Touching something. That's
No,
not
no,
Dodgers
stop,
on
stop.
All right.
Stop.
So you got Buster.
I got Buster as MVP.
Who's your MVP?
You. No, you can go.
All right. I'm going Yadier Molina. I think if the Cardinals,
You think he makes it this
Really
year?
good
If
for
the
the second
Cardinals
best
show
catcher
up-
in baseball. I guess that's a pretty good feat.
I think he's finally going to get the recognition that he deserves. He's the best catcher in baseball. To help you out, I'll give you 3 other guys who have a realistic shot. If the Nationals win the NL East, Bryce Harper is going to have to be an MVP candidate. He's going to put up the type of numbers, the
Yeah.
average. He's going to steal a lot of bases. He put on some bulk this season. I think he's going to hit some home runs. Harper could be a good one. If the Dodgers really play well, I think Hanley Ramirez has a realistic shot at being NL MVP.
Yep.
And then another guy going along with what I had on my ratings, one of the most talented players in baseball. He's properly rated at this point. He was underrated last year. Carlos Gonzalez of the Rockies.
He has
I
a
think-
chance. He
I
always
He's
has a
good,
chance.
but
If
he's
the-
still a product of course. And not a product
Product of Coors Field, he is,
complete product,
but he
but
gets to hit at
it
Coors
boosts
Field.
it.
So he gets to hit those
I think
numbers.
when I look at MVP, I try to normalize that type of numbers. Go ahead, Sean.
That's why he doesn't have a vote. If the Rockies make the push that I think they are, I think Cargo could be an MVP.
Okay, I'm taking
Alright.
Bryce Harper.
Bryce
Okay.
Harper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bryce Harper.
So-
It's going to be a Harper Trout MVP year.
And I think
Cy
that
Young.
would be great
Yeah.
for baseball.
Yeah.
Cy Young, you can go first.
I know.
I
Oh,
think
you know.
I think Adam Wainwright just barely edges out Clayton Kershaw in the Cy Young, and that's yeah.
We got
I've got maybe not surprising. I'm going to pick Jose Fernandez to win the Cy Young. I don't think people
You know
realize
what?
how good a
I
season he
had
put together
him
last season.
along with Clayton Kershaw in the three-person discussion of the Cy Young.
I've got Jose. Go for it.
I don't think Kershaw has a chance of winning the NL Cy Young this year. I think his numbers.
What?
I think his numbers are going to be a little bit inflated from last year. And if you look at his numbers from last year, they were legendary. His ERA was legendary. I mean, no one will touch that number again in this common MLB.
Legend.
Wait for it. Hope you're not lactose intolerant.
Dairy.
There you go. My Cy Young, this will probably surprise you guys, Johnny Cueto. I think if the Reds
knowing you for as long as I have, that does not surprise me.
All right, I'm good because I think the Reds pitching staff is gonna hunker down, and I think Johnny Cueto is gonna lead him. He's gonna stay healthy this year.
That means that you're saying he's gonna win 18 to 21 games.
I think he gets to 20 games. I think he's a 20-game winner this year. I think Johnny Cueto.
That's the only way Cueto.
And the three of the guys I think that are gonna win is Wainwright, Jose Fernandez, Gio Gonzalez.
Really?
Not Strasburg, not Jordan Zimmerman. I think Gio will put up the best numbers in the national
I can get
staff.
behind it. I can get behind that.
I think he'll put up the best numbers in the national staff. So I'm going with Johnny Cueto, but those three are the guys I can see it happen. Fernandez, by the way, anyone who doesn't want to watch the Marlins play, just watch highlights of Fernandez. That guy.
He's got so much passion and energy.
God.
It's just good, fun to watch.
He's a baller.
All right, so
manager of the year.
Do you want to do manager of the year?
I have Freddie Gonzalez of the Braves.
Freddie Gonzalez, okay?
I'm definitely not picking Freddie Gonzalez, but come back to me.
All right, I got Mike Matheny. I think in his third year, I think they're going to give him some love, especially the Cardinals put up a lot of wins. Three other guys, Walt Weiss, the Rockies. If the Rockies make the jump, I think Walt Weiss gets a lot of love. If the Padres make a jump, Bud Black could get some love. And I think Brian Price, the Reds manager. If the Reds make some of his first year.
I forgot that Dusty Baker wasn't there anymore.
For Dusty Baker, I think if the Reds make a little bit of a run, I think Brian Price could get some manager of the year. I'm going Mike Matheny, though.
I'm going with Bud Black.
Bud Black.
I think the Padres. That's my sleeper team from the National League.
Absolutely.
I find it funny that the only thing we agreed on in the NL West was the Padres finishing third.
Crazy. All right, so we got all our National League, all our American League, World Series.
I have the Yankees and Cardinals, which actually happens. I'm gonna go.
You're gonna be pretty upset.
Jump off a cliff, but it's my prediction. So and I'm picking the Cards because they're amazing. They do it they're like the Spurs of Major League Baseball. The Spurs, Patriots, and Cardinals to me are all similar types of teams, and all three.
How many games?
Oh wow, Cardinals and 6.
All right, so I have A's and the Pirates.
I don't want to watch that
small market World Series. I think that the A's win a World Series. They win in 7.
Just want to brag that I have a show this quarter, guys. Thank you.
That's real life.
Yeah.
That's real life right there.
Go for it, Sean.
Well,
what did you say? You said A's over the Pirates.
8 over the Pirates in 7.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope to God that doesn't happen.
Oh, that'd be a fun one.
I'm buying a lottery ticket the moment that those two match up in the World Series. Anyway, sorry.
The matchup that Major League Baseball wants is Yankees Dodgers.
Yes.
If that happens, Major League Baseball will make so much money.
If that happens, I'm gonna throw up.
You're gonna be very
throw
upset.
up and then jump off a cliff.
You know what Major League Baseball really wants is an NLCS of Dodgers Giants and an ALCS of Yankees Red Sox, and then winner of whoever.
And they
doesn't
don't
matter.
care who plays
doesn't
that.
matter.
I think it's going to be Yankees Dodgers. They're going to send Jeter out the right
The Don
way.
Mattingly Bowl,
The
Joe
Don
Torre
Mattingly.
Bowl, I guess you could.
Probably them in 7.
Both of them. I'll go Yankees in 6. I think Dodgers would have home field advantage. I think they're going to have a better record. I'll go Yankees in 6. And I think World Series MVP, Derek Jeter.
Let's see. World Series MVP.
Goodness.
Someone on Oakland? Oh, I hope Oakland doesn't win.
Sogard.
Oh my God.
No.
That's gonna be a pick.
Oh.
Nerd Nation, baby.
Oh my God.
Face of MLB.
Face of the MLB.
Who would be your
Sogard.
My word. I was not prepared for this. I'll pick Daniel Descalso. Go Ags.
Preparation?
Right?
No
I was gonna
preparation.
Say, I feel like in a normal situation he would have picked Yadier Molina, but after this argument that happened, he couldn't do that.
The best catcher in baseball.
Daniel Descalso.
So it's a good backup plan, Daniel.
Go Ags.
Go Ags. Go Ags.
Alrighty, fellas, any?
It's not your podcast. We're gonna.
I was gonna say, so that brings an end to the MLB preview.
Yeah.
For Greg Wong,
Firing you all.
My partner in crime, the criminal over here, Sean Steimel.
PIC.
I am David D.K. Kim, known as the Heckler, and we will see you next week. Hopefully, shorter than 2 hours.
And probably on a Monday.
Probably on a Monday.
Hopefully on a Monday.
All right, so get out of here, guys. It's over. You'll hear some more haze next week.
Greg, show your face. Oh, we gotta get out of here.